What's up, everyone? Welcome to Call to Action Live this Sunday night. We've got some awesome matches to talk about, and I'm super excited to get to talk about them with these fabulous people. Starting with on my right, Upset City over there. Alex, how are you doing?
Man, I'm damn spiffy. That's what I'm doing over here. There's so much good matches to chat about today. I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm super stoked. And below me, we have the PLD, ready to talk about some matches. You excited, PLD?
I am always ready to talk about matches with these two lovely ladies, and I'm psyched to be here.
All right, awesome. Yeah, it's been an incredible week in the Schmoedown. As I feel like I've said a million times, the fact that these are all online and it's a different format, things like that, has not caused any sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like lessen the impact these matches have had on us. I feel like if anything, like the energy is just as high, if not higher, because we have all this extra time to get to vote to Schmoedown. And so I have watched these matches multiple times, which I don't usually get a chance to do. So I'm excited to talk about them. Starting with our first match we want to talk about. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Going right into it. I love it, Kelsey. Don't mess around. Just
I'm ready. It was John Humphrey versus the Barbarian that we got to see. And this match, oh my gosh, guys, we can go over the stats a little bit. But this match was just awesome. I love Humphreys. His personality is so engaging on camera and everything like that. With him with Koi is just fantastic. Sure. Perfect matchup. Yeah. Perfect. But dang, Barbarian just proving he's scary in IG, and I feel like he's getting scarier each time we see him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. John Humphrey is a wonderful, funny, hilarious person, but he's also good at trivia. He actually is showing more and more that he's not just a joke. He stood up well in his tournament so far, and though he didn't make it past Barbarian, I thought he did a very good job. But I also definitely agree about the Barbarian. I know he mentioned on Chill that he only had like 2 to 3 weeks to prepare for the IG portion of that, which is not a lot of time given how much everybody knows. And he showed that he is in it to win it. He's got some. He still just got. I think he showed a little bit of holes in terms of like against the people like the Kevin Smets's of the world. But he's definitely getting better each time. I think you give him a few more weeks, few more months as he gets through it. That guy could be right up there in the main event of IG.
Something I do want to mention, I feel like it might take more than just 3 or 4 matches to get up to the level of Smets or Kalinowski.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, just because that's like, to me, that's like on another stratosphere of competitor. Not to say he doesn't have the potential. He absolutely does. But I feel like we can talk about that if he were to like walk away with the tournament win today. But until then, but absolutely so much immense potential. And I think you really proved it with this match. John Humphreys in particular, I didn't know what to expect. He definitely did really well against a Janine and in the first round match, but also I thought Barbarian was going to win, and I was right. But also, John Humphreys, he was real hit and miss with some of the questions. I definitely think he has, again, potential to further his knowledge in IG. I hope this is not the last of him when it comes to IG. But he definitely has to kind of step it up to a certain degree, for sure, if he's going to, play with the big boys.
I want to actually touch on something you just said, Alex, about it seems like the IG tournament and the COVID and everything else that has made us get this IG tournament. We're seeing a lot of people in IG that we wouldn't normally have thought of as IG players. You're getting the shots, but I wonder if that's a case of because it's the IG tournament. Like if this was a normal year, would we have seen this happen the same way? I don't know. So I think it's kind of like a blessing that we actually get to see these people in IG. And I do wonder if we're going to keep seeing them in IG. I wonder if it's going to be a one-off for the tournament kind of thing, maybe come back for tournaments. Or are we going to see Barbarian say, hey, you know what? I enjoyed myself, even if he doesn't win the tournament, for example. Let's say he gets in there, he enjoyed himself. Do we see him afterwards start competing in IG regularly alongside the singles and maybe the teams as well? I don't know. What you think about?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I hope this is not the last of it, for sure. Just because I have Mara Kanapik on one of my fan leagues, and because I'm in 2 fan leagues right now, and I am desperate for some more points and wins. However, considering how many matches we're getting right now with IG, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to, after this tournament and, the matches, between Chandru and Smets and, whoever is the winner of this tournament, if that's going to be it for a very long time. But you never know. You never know.
It would very well be. And yes, Kaiser, yes, they are all trying to catch up with Dungeon Productions. I like that. Is that a
Dungeon Production?
Dungeon Production. Is that copyrighted? I don't know what to say. But
trademarked. Copyrighted tomato. Oh, there's a difference, I think.
And can we hire Dungeon Productions to do more promos for everybody else? That's what I want to know. So maybe some promos for C2A promos. We'll get Dungeon Productions involved, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to see Paul showering for a C2A promo.
Well, that would bring ratings. Let me tell you, that would definitely bring ratings.
Oh my gosh! Can we get one, please?
Okay, you know what sells.
I'll contribute to whatever needs to be done to get those awesome promos.
All right, I'm going to pull up the stats just real quick before we move on to the next match. In round 1, Barbarian pulled out 8 and Humphreys did get 4. Mm-hmm. So we can kind of see there the start of what was probably going to end up happening in the end, but it was still a pretty solid round 1 for both competitors. Going into round 2, we had Wizard World, and then for the Barbarian, and then for Humphrey we had Middle Earth. And there was no steals, it looks like. So that's pretty solid round 2. And then, of course, it came to a final end because look at our round 3s. Like, there's... Mm-hmm. He tried. He did a good job. We definitely see where he needs to do maybe a little bit of either studying or just a little bit more focusing on IG if he's going to continue in there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Still a solid match. I really enjoyed watching it as well.
It was clear as well that when it comes to... What?
I'm sorry. I just saw that.
Guys,
I'm between that and or like the take me down to the city, and I was just like, hey, please take me home, yeah, hi. There's Axel in the background.
I love it.
There's definitely, obviously there are competitors when it comes to this tournament that are with a higher tier of accuracy ratings of points and everything than others. There's I remember when we first were looking at all the potential competitors in this IG tournament, we were like, okay, who do we know based on the names and their previous there you go.
New call sign, new sign for I like that. That's awesome.
I can't hide them with headphones on, but still, yeah. There's different types of competitors. Now, John Humphreys, he's although being part of the Real Rejects, he's a huge fan of anything quote unquote geek related, when it comes to the MCU and DCEU and all that good stuff. But at the same time, he was more into a lot of the surface level stuff, talk about the themes and characters. He's not really diving into, a lot of the nitty gritty specific,
right.
details that you have to know to get to this level. So obviously it makes sense why Koi put him in this, both him and Greg, because they both did really fantastic. But again, when it comes to this with tournament, this is everyone's great in this tournament overall.
Yeah.
It's so
no lies.
Mm-hmm.
Been a fantastic tournament.
Yeah, it's been very exciting. Extremely exciting.
All right, and then any final thoughts before we move on to the match that we saw in the middle of the week?
No, I think we broke down.
Yep, which is what we broke down thoroughly. If you did not see our breakdown guest starring Ace, please go check it out. It was fantastic.
So much fun.
Here we go. There's, as we call it, the Cinderella story. 2 tickets to Upset City. Such a solid match. I had such a fun time watching this match, especially the second time again, getting to watch it with Ace and getting to find out the details, how things went, what his mindset was during each question and things like that. It was fantastic.
We should say, we just in case you didn't know what we're talking about, we have changed our format of reacting to Schmoedown matches. We're gone as the days where we're going to all watch it together for the first time and play along and react. It just didn't seem to work well with any of us scheduling wise, and also didn't seem to honestly have a lot of fun with it. I know I didn't like that kind of reacting generally, unless it was some kind of big, huge moment. It seemed like it was not really worth the watch at this point. So instead, we're gonna watch the episode or the match whenever we watch it. Then we'll come back together. Hopefully, we can get a competitor on and actually break it down we'll rewatch it together, knowing what's going on, so we can point out the moments we want to talk about, break it down a little bit further, not be surprised about things that are coming up. We know what we're going to talk about. I think it's much more informative and much more fun way to do it. And hopefully, we can get the competitors involved, or at least a competitor in the same division. I think it should be a good way to go. I think I like the plans what we have for that, and hopefully, these two we did this week will be a good determination of what's going to be going on in the future.
Not to mention, here next Saturday, I think is it the 18th or 19th?
Nah.
18th?
Let's look at a calendar.
Regardless, the one where Park is going to go against Chance Ellison. That night, because I know the match is like debuting in the late afternoon, like 5 o'clock Central, 3 Pacific kind of thing, like he usually does. We're going to be actually having Parker on later that night to really kind of revisit the match, because I believe they filmed it a little bit ago, but really kind of dive into it. So it's going to be like later that night. We're going to have a breakdown. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, with Rob Parker, it's going to be great. That's going to be fun. Oh,
an excuse to hang out with Parker.
Well, true.
So cool. He's just so chill, and he's just such an awesome guy. I love him.
Hopefully, we can get him to do a magic trick too. That'd be great.
Oh my gosh, I want all the tricks. I want all the magic.
But anyway, we'll talk about that. We broke it down. What do you guys think? Star Wars match was great. I love Star Wars. It's my favorite division. That's why I got this going down. I do.
What?
I do. It's no joke. It's no joke. This was Upset City. This is not just Alex over there. This is Upset City in general. He's been cruising his way through this whole tournament, upsetting everybody as he goes along. I mean, the only thing he didn't upset was Josh Cavedo. I think that was a solid match, but he upsets Ken. He upsets Laura Kelly. Now he upsets Dimilana. Can he upset Alice Damon? I don't know if I can say no anymore. I don't know if I can not say that anymore, because he's just done it all so far.
Yeah, if anything, like I did think Ace was going to pull all the way through Knapsack. I thought he was going to beat Knapsack. But after that, I'll admit I had my doubts and thought Laura Kelly and such was going to win. But those doubts are gone. I think I've decided I'm fully on the Ace train, and I think he could totally beat Alex. So when that time comes, I know where I'm rooting. Drip.
I'm not going to lie. I was one of those doubters. I was like, he can beat Josh. He can beat Ken, because Ken's not really a competitor anymore. And that's totally fine. It's just, I'm using his own words. It's not, Schmoedown's not what it used to be. And it's just not he's not actively involved as a competitor like he used to be, at least studying wise and everything, like you kind of have to be. And that's, awesome. So I assumed Ace was going to win going up against Josh and Ken, but I was like, it's Laura. It's fucking Laura Kelly, my dude. I mean, it's. Have you seen Demolanta? I mean, he's fantastic, and not to say Ace isn't fantastic, but I was like, Ace is really great. He's improved, but these are like his first matches, and he's going against competitors that are playing like a 4th, 5th match kind of thing. That had done like live events and everything. So they were used to that kind of higher pressure.
Yeah.
But Danielle proved us all fucking wrong.
She said it.
Called it.
She has the bragging rights here. Absolutely all the bragging rights. What did you guys think of her, his hot take that he mentioned the other day when we broke it down? Do you remember?
Yeah, about how all these kind of nitpicky challenges and things like that, he doesn't think anyone should be doing that. If you're close enough, you got it. Absolutely. And I can definitely see his point. I'm very 50-50 on it, where I do agree, but also I kind of like the excitement of challenges a little bit. So
my question would be that I get it, but that sounds like someone who cares. Someone who cared, I don't want to say this because he definitely cares, but there's a mindset of someone like a Ben Bateman who wanted it more than anything. He's going to throw every challenge out there because he's that competitive.
Are you saying he doesn't want it as much?
No, that's exactly why exactly why I paused.
Too late, Paul.
It's almost like I'm trying to make it difficult.
Rewind the tape. Where's we need a replay crew.
Imagine that, Alice, trying to make it difficult for me. But there are people, like, it seems like that's something that they would make. Ben Bateman, like I mentioned, he throws everything in his way. Ace seems to want to kind of roll with it a little bit more and be like, he's more generous. So like, if it is close enough, he's close enough. I wouldn't be that way, because if I want something, I'm gonna throw everything in the kitchen sink at you. I'm gonna try to stop your momentum. I'm gonna try to stop. I'm gonna make sure that because again, people have proven to make challenges be wrong and still win the challenge because they were able to talk their way out of it. You could talk your way into getting more points.
Bateman, that's what he
Bateman
can do.
again. You can talk somebody into getting more points, then that's damn sure your responsibility if you really want it that much, especially when you got a faction to win for. You know what I'm saying? I don't blame her. He doesn't upset me that he says that because that's his take and that's fine.
I think it depends on the player because it's so far working for him. I think maybe that mindset of, you know what, I'm just going to let it slide and just focus on my game and stuff like that. That chill attitude he has keeps him level. And so it's working for him. It's getting him a consistent gameplay. So maybe for certain competitors, that's just the more solid technique.
It could, but I would say that would it be a detriment when he does go up against somebody like a Ben Bateman type? If Ben Bateman's going to call you out on all your shit and you're not going to, then it might be a detriment. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it sounds like it's potentially a bad thing. But we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think obviously both competitors are so talented. They're so fucking knowledgeable. I can't comprehend how they're able to so hyper focus the way they have been able to prove in these matches. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
You know what? It seems like their approaches to studying and learning these movies obviously are very different. Just watching the body language, it was actually kind of funny because Ace, as he was like watching himself, he was doing the same poses and everything, which was kind of like we have a little Aceception situation going on, which is fun. But you can tell by his body language, he's actively, trying to calm himself down. And you can also tell by his relationship with Winston. And it was reaffirmed, with our breakdown with him that Winston was trying to kind of keep him having his level head, keep him calm. And because that's, I guess, some people work well when work better or more efficiently when they're chill. When there isn't as much pressure and, where they don't have someone over their shoulder. Some people require that pressure to really, really actively pull themselves. If someone's like, but so I'm kind of curious if that's for Demolanta, if that's his style, because obviously he's done amazing with his record. He's technically he's at 2-2, but he's so much more than that.
Yeah, I agree. It's out there because it's out there. I don't want to lose it. John Kaiser, thank you, Kaiser, for the super chat. Parker is a smoother operator, and he's about to disconnect Chance from the IG tournament. We'll definitely be getting into that a little bit later on as we go down into that road to break down that match in the future. But I will say I think that Kaiser's absolutely right.
Operator.
I have a lot of faith in Robert Parker, and I love Chance. No doubt. But if I had Parker knows what he's doing. That's for sure. So.
Sorry.
All right.
I didn't do karaoke last night, so it has to come out sometime.
I don't blame you. Gotta do some karaoke.
I missed doing karaoke with Drew, man. I missed it this weekend, so I feel my heart's broken a little bit.
Well, maybe we'll do a C2A post show at some point. You can do some.
Yeah. Okay, that is a bad news we can talk about later. All right, well, moving on to matches this week. We have Brandon the Hitman Hannah versus Alex the Damon. I feel so bad for you guys that had to do that breakdown and have to have people watch you on screen, having to watch. I have never wanted to smack somebody across the face so much while watching a match. Just all that smart attitude towards Christian and Mark. I mean, where's the respect? That
was hard to do. Every time I see him on the screen, I start throwing up in my mouth a little bit, and it's just not very fun. Exactly. Who? I don't know who this guy is. I said it before. I think he must be turning around. He must be facing a corner right now because he's turned his back on everybody else. So,
yeah.
Well, that's what losers do to themselves,
That's true.
What are you gonna do?
I will say though, I will briefly give him some credit in terms of that. Alex Damon definitely did. Everything went the right way for Alex Damon to win. He did get Middle Earth in the second round. He got a 5-pointer that was Star Wars, and that was the end because Damon pulled his 5-pointer and Hannah couldn't. That's basically the end of the match.
Brandon Hannah also got his for the second round. He also got Spinner's Choice.
Yep.
So they were pretty evenly matched. Now the thing is, Brandon Hannah also he's played more, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, Alex Damon did get a Star Wars related 5-pointer question. But at the same time, considering Brandon's record, he hypothetically, he should have been able to get some of those questions down. I mean, how did they both do in the first round? Can you whip up the stats?
It was 8-8. They missed one.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon had that challenge, which we can talk about.
Yeah.
But they missed the one. They missed two each. I'm sorry, they missed two each.
Yeah.
They both missed the same heroes and villains, and then Brandon missed the Green Arrow or Green Hornet question, which is what he challenged. They both went perfect in round 2.
Yeah.
At the end of that's why I said it went down to the 5, because in round 3 it was 18-18. So it went into round 3 completely tied. And the difference between the match, Hannah got his 2 and his 3. Damon got his 2 and his 5.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I do want to see about Damon. What I want to see about Damon is I want to see him in a match where he doesn't get like a Middle Earth and Star Wars combination and all, like kind of lower that thing, and see where he is. I just don't know where he actually. I know Hannah is pretty consistently good throughout all the IG categories. I just don't know where Damon is at this point still. And that's my question about that.
You're totally right. It's almost like I've heard some competitors that I've actually no, it's not some competitors. I've heard some fans talk about, if a competitor, like if Kalinowski didn't keep getting James Bond.
Yeah.
Or Clark Wolf doesn't keep getting horror thriller. How good would they be if they kept getting opponent's choice? I feel like I don't like that kind of line of conversation and what it kind of insinuates. But I am, like you said, we haven't really seen enough. The thing is, with Kalinowski and Clark Wolf, the difference between that kind of line of questioning is that we have seen them play a ton of matches.
Right.
We've seen them play teams and singles, and we're barely getting a whiff of Alex Simmons' like true abilities when it comes to IG, and I think he has all the potential in the world. I think he's gonna do fantastic. But at the same time, we just don't have enough knowledge of him in IG in order to truly gauge versus that weenie.
The other guy. Yeah, I agree 110% with your ideas about like he can become a crutch of a evaluation of a character, of a person, of a studier, so to speak. But again, I just want to see more of him. I think he could be great. I just want to see it. I just don't know. I just don't know where it is. Real quick,
him an opponent's choice. Let's see what happens.
It's Allison shooting back at Kaiser in her chat. Kaiser regarded failed at breaking your basket. Corruption will not. Wow, that's bold.
Just saying, Chance. That's a nice profile picture. I'm not using that profile picture. I don't remember that profile picture.
Nice. I do say. I like Chance. I like your chutzpah on that. It's gonna definitely be a fun match to watch. Chutzpah.
What's chutzpah? What does that mean?
Balls, confidence, the moxie. Yeah.
Ballsy, the cojones.
Exactly that kind of thing. So I love to say it.
Okay.
I feel you. Fortitude. Exactly. I love a Chance. That's why I want to see. That's one of my the weenie sack. That's right. That's what it is. Chance showing a big weenie sack at this point.
All right. And we wanted to talk about round 1, Brandon's challenge with the Green Hornet thing. What were your guys' thoughts? I knew it was going to get stolen down because it didn't seem like that valid of a challenge, but I also was wondering if it was going to, because of just like the way it got challenged out in the middle of nowhere, throw Alex off. Didn't seem to work, but maybe that was the intent.
Well, when it comes to challenges, there's a lot of different ways that you can issue challenges, obviously. Now, when it comes to Star Wars, obviously, every challenge counts. Like, you save those. Because, obviously, it feels like every single match. Obviously, with every single match, Star Wars match, challenges are used. So they're very necessary. In IG team singles and that kind of thing, they're not used nearly as much, obviously. They do get used, but not as often. So there is this idea that, depending on the competitor and how confident you're with them, you can use them for psychological warfare. So
absolutely.
Which I think, is definitely smart. You just have to be smart on who you're using against. And using against a competitor like Alex Bateman, I mean, I totally agree. As a rookie IG competitor, not a rookie Schmoedown competitor, but specifically an IG. So it makes sense to me since he was that confident going into this match. But it was a stupid question to challenge. You're challenging a comic book movie. What?
kind of complicated.
No,
I mean, he had a point about the history of the character, but it still was valid for that category. Like if it was in comic book movie,
challenge it. You don't challenge it in the middle of a match.
Well, this is actually something I want to bring up. This is the reason why I don't like. This is something I don't know. But for example, when, like to bring in a possibility of something, when I'm at work in my union, if someone like the job asks me to do something that we think is against the contract, we're always told, okay, you got to go through the category and then grieve it afterwards and talk about it afterwards. Is it possible that Brandon has seen this list of movies, but had no recourse of like being able to challenge it until they got into the match? Until we finally got a Green Hornet question, was that's my opportunity. I want to challenge this being a part of the IJ. I mean, he couldn't do it beforehand. Maybe that wasn't allowed for whatever reason. I don't know how it worked out to do.
But you want to use a challenge in the IG tournament on that? That's what you want to use it on?
Well, it also coupled with the fact that he wanted to maintain his lead and in an IG tournament, he wanted to maintain his lead also, and a psychological thing possibly as well. Could have been a whole ball of wax.
It's just the thing though. Things book based on books are in IG. Things based on like IG's not just comic books. It's just if it was in the comic book category, I could see the point. But was a very lots of different mediums. It was on a radio show. It was a comic book. There's like so. I think it was in the correct category in IG. If it was in another category, maybe had a very valid point. But in Mixed Bag, that's the point. Mixed Bag is just a weird, random, geeky culture stuff, and Green Hornet is geeky culture. You know what I mean?
And I fully agree with that. I don't think I disagree with Brandon. I think that Green Hornet should definitely be in IG. I'm just trying to get inside his mindset to why he possibly challenged and made it. What his thought process was.
It does make sense to a certain extent. I do think it does speak volumes about how confident going into this match he was.
Yeah.
And using something like psychological warfare on such a new IG competitor, I feel like it really backfired on him because not only did he at that point he lost his challenge, but also he's going up against a competitor that's used to that high stakes pressure. He's used to live events. He's used to almost exclusively championship matches. He's used to that kind of certain level. So this idea of like this challenge in the first round is really wasted, unfortunately. It could have totally worked out in his favor. But he knew the question. So if you know the answer to the question, why would you use that answer?
Well, he got it wrong. He didn't know it. He got it wrong.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's what the reason why.
On that last bit.
I wonder, honestly, because I mean, it's kind of. I said this on our breakdown, and Danny didn't really agree with me, but I think kind of agreed with me. It's kind of like the video Drew challenge when she challenged American Psycho being horror thriller, or I forget the particulars of it, but she challenged the question on a categorical level and got the question thrown out. So I wonder if it's like that was in his head. We can get it thrown out on a categorical level, see if we can work that around it. And then, honestly, at the end of the day, as much as we're all talking about it, it didn't really end up having much impact to the match. I mean, if he had gotten the challenge, he would have won. He would have won the match. If
it was Star Wars, where I mean, sometimes it is just that 1 point difference.
Yeah.
You know, again, that would make sense to challenge earlier on, like in Star Wars matches. You need to get like 9 or 10 points in the perfect round, because if you miss one, and 10 points becomes a 2-point gap if they get in the first round with a bonus question for one of the competitor, and that's a huge difference in Star Wars going forward. But with this, it's not a huge difference. It can be, sure, depending on the competitor, but if you're that confident.
I don't disagree, but
I don't disagree, but
I don't disagree all the way. But, I don't know if I
disagree, but what does that mean?
Well, I can't agree with you on like,
I don't
on
agree,
principle.
but I don't.
In principle, I can't agree with you on principle anyway. That's just not how we roll. You know that.
That is the truest truth you've ever heard.
No, I guess I don't fully disagree with you, but I guess I see his side of things a little bit more than you do. That's all.
Do we need to kick you out of C2A?
I'm not. I don't like it. I'm not siding with him. I'm not saying I like him.
Anna,
I'm trying to get inside the head of the enemy.
You're saying all these blasphemous words. I'm like wondering, are you actually a spy on the inside? Are you a mole for Hannah?
I'm trying to get on the inside of the enemy.
I think we figured it out
on here. Kelsey, take him off. Oh,
You
gosh.
can't.
Damn it.
Oh,
It's my shooting guard game. You can't
no,
do it.
he's fly on the inside. Let's get him out. Let's.
I tried, folks. I
Get them all.
tried.
Get them all. Get them all.
Did you see my promo against Brandon Hanna? I don't like Brandon Hanna, obviously.
Oh yeah, as if
That's exactly what a
as
mole
if
would do. They
I
would try to
do
cover him.
that really well in promos. Oh my gosh.
Anyways, any final thoughts on that match before we go on to speculating upcoming matches?
Obviously not. She got this tea. She's gonna do that. She's gonna try to look all cool, and yeah, it's all.
All right.
At the end of the day, I'm interested to see where Alex Damon's going to go against Kalinowski or Zipper. It's going to be very interesting to see, and I do hope we get to see him in different categories to see where he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Brandon, I think we have not seen the last of Brandon Hanna this year. I kind of have this gut feeling.
No,
He's like a bad penny, or he's in a turn up somewhere.
He's gone forever. He ain't shit.
He's got one thing that we all ain't got. Christian is loving what he's doing right now.
He ain't shit. I'm loving a lot of things that Hannah's doing, like losing.
Just saying.
Losing. Something I love him doing. You know what? Continue that. By all means, please.
Nice.
All right. Well, moving on to next week on Saturday, July 18th, at the Scoutbound Expo, which is kind of cool. It's a new way of doing things.
Yeah.
We have Chance Ellison versus Robert Parker. I am super stoked for this match for multiple reasons. One, getting to watch it in like a different environment with Skybound. And then also because this match is just going to be freaking awesome because these are two scary competitors. And it's going to be a bloodbath.
I am very interested to see because I definitely have said the entire time that Parker is going to go through this tournament like a knife through butter. I still feel that way. But every match that Chance plays, he's gotten better and better. And not only better and better, I feel like he's going a little bit under the radar with it. Like his matches with Corruption earlier have been like he was like carrying the team. Michael, all respect in the world, but he was like the A player during those Corruption matches. He's playing well again. He played with Paul Ayama. He looks like he just knows his stuff. He's just getting better and better. So I don't think this is going to be quite as much of a walkover as I initially thought, but I still got to give it to Parker. I just can't see Parker losing so far. He just looks so damn good. But
okay, let's calm that down. Let's calm that down. Okay, Parker, I love Parker. The dude has played 2 matches. 2 matches. I think he's going to be amazing. Don't get me wrong. But the dude has played in, what was it? No, 2. Has he played 2 matches? Or is it 3 matches at this point? 2 matches. 2 IG matches. Mm-hmm. And people are already talking about him potentially winning the belt and winning the tournament. Like, why? I don't think we need to have this conversation unless he wins at least another match. And then we can at least talk about that conversation. Like I don't like to say someone's I don't like to say anyone like a competitor is undefeated until they play 3 matches. Personally.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, he's also someone we have a lot of game tape of in the fan league. I think that's part of the reason why. I know it's a different story. I get the differences. I'm not going to argue that at all. But pure knowledge, he has the pure knowledge to be able to be up there with everybody else.
And Chance
whether
doesn't.
that translates. I'm not saying he doesn't, but as far as inner geekdom goes, Parker's been more solidified in inner geekdom than Chance has so far. Like even the fan league stuff. But Chance has more Schmoedown stuff, and so as far as the Schmoedown stuff goes, that's a different story. So that's where it could happen to me because it's a different league altogether. And I fully agree with that, fully understand that. But I know all the Parker love is basically based on the pure knowledge base that he has.
Okay, if he wins and slides through this, that's expected. Where he wins this tournament, that's actually what everyone expects. I've heard that from 10 people. Yeah. A bunch of people from different groups and everything. Now, hypothetically, what if Chance TKOs him? What happens?
A lot. He falls down quite hard. Quite hard. Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't think now.
Considering his hype. Yeah. He is the most hyped competitor Schmoedown has ever seen. Rookie competitor Schmoedown has ever seen.
Quite possibly.
Absolutely. Hands down. We've talked about him as a competitor since last summer. We've talked about Barbarian like starting maybe last November. We've talked about a lot of other competitors, but he is just so overhyped. And as a result, I've said it before and I say it again, I think it's putting this kind of attention where he's so hyped. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. He's amazing. He's a wonderful person and he deserves all the credit. Absolutely. But I don't think we should have that kind of conversation about a rookie competitor that we haven't seen before ever. And we were already talking about how he's going to win the belt by the end of the year after his first match. That shouldn't be a conversation that we should have after one match.
But again, it's not like we haven't seen him play before or anything else. He has tape, like so. The knowledge again, it goes down to the knowledge. Not in the
yeah, we're not arguing a chance either, though.
I'm not. Again, I'm just saying that
not nearly as much.
Well, I wasn't on a show back when Chance started because I probably would have talked about him a lot more.
Chance and Paul Young were hyped quite a bit, not to the level that our Parker was, I think, but I agree with that to a degree. But I don't think that. It's a difference between coming in, like, for example, when Josh Cavedo came in to play the Star Wars match.
Yes.
That was something we had no tape on, never seen him play. All we knew is what he talked about on his shows. That's all you knew about. You had no idea about his trivia knowledge. At Schmoedown it's at least half trivia knowledge and half gameplay. We know Parker has the knowledge. That's the difference between someone like him and someone like a Cavedo or something like that. Because you come in, even if he's played no matches, you've seen him play 100 matches where he was undefeated. I mean, that's totally exaggeration. I don't know how many matches it was. A lot of matches in the family where he was undefeated and he had that pure knowledge where he wasn't
totally
missing questions.
Defeated in the fan leagues.
He had it's not undefeated, but he hasn't missed very many questions. He had a lot. He showed a knowledge base that was there, and the questions were a lot harder than they usually are in the Schmoedown.
As someone that is actively involved in the fan leagues, I kind of disagree. He's a really wonderful competitor. He has done fantastic in the leagues, but by no means, and we can argue day and night about the intensity of the different questions and all that stuff. That's fine. That is subjective AF. But when it comes down to it, the assumption that he's going to win is overwhelming. And I don't feel like that's just so unfair to him as a competitor, both Parker and Chance.
I get that. I agree with that. I also want to throw out there, though, one of the reasons why a lot of people brought him up as a hype is because he TKO Smets in the fan leagues?
No.
Or he beat Smets in the fan leagues at some point.
Beat Smets.
He beat Smets.
He beat him, but he didn't TKO him.
I actually think he TKO'd him in the fan leagues, which that was a big thing.
They trained together. Absolutely.
It was definitely a different Smets. I'll say that too. Smets has come a long way through there as well. But that was one of the things when he first came up. Was like, this is the guy who TKO'd Smets, so that's why people have been hyped up about him because he has the knowledge base to do so. So I guess that's why part of it too, as that definitely helped him. He definitely TKO'd him. He TKO'd Smets. That's what he did. So. Can you not say he could beat Smets? So, of course, you say he could beat Smets. That's why the hype is there. He's done it before. Yeah.
And here's my argument about, like, Paul and Chance not getting hyped up and stuff like that. The environment of Schmoedown's changed drastically since they were coming up. The reactors, after shows, SEN Live now being a thing. Like, the world is now set up for there to be hype. We can't say that Paul and Chance wouldn't have been equally as hyped when they were coming out of the fan leagues because it was a totally different environment, totally different world. It was just different. The media base was way different. So there wasn't these constant conversations on camera about what they were going to bring to the table. So I also think that's kind of a weird argument as well. Just because Parker was hyped so much doesn't mean in the same circumstances Chance and Paul wouldn't have been as equally as hyped.
On the other hand, I do agree with you, Alex, about it being a little unfair to Parker. And if Parker does lose, it's going to be harsher on him. And I fully agree. And that's not exactly fair. And it's not exactly fair that would happen that way. But it is what it is. I don't know how you can say it otherwise.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, I haven't said my view on things yet. I will never doubt Chance. Having hung out with him and seen just like his constant studying, not even just just constant, like the amount of work. I know Parker, like I know his history, things like that. So I have no doubt he can do that. I've seen in person Chance doing what he does. So I always feel like I do this a lot, but it could go really either way. I think it just depends on if we get a weird question from like a movie that neither of them have ever seen because it's like a 1950 something movie and then they'll be thrown off in the next match because they're both so solid in IG.
Yeah, I love Chance. I love Chance quite a bit. I think he's done a lot to prove himself. And again, like I said, it's been underrated because you don't hear people talking about him very much. It's just kind of he's kind of gone under that radar. So, and maybe that's better for him. Maybe that's going to help him in this match.
Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely. So I just really am curious to see not only how this match is going to do. I just also both teams, both factions as well, really need the win. Corruption, they desperately need the win right now. After Laura Kelly didn't work out like they hoped. She performed amazing, by the way. Oh my gosh, that match was crazy. One of the best matches of the year. But yeah, so both the dungeon and corruption are heavily relying on this potential win, because they're both definitely on the lower tier of points right now. So
right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of pressure, not only like from themselves, to do well, and fans, but also their factions, to still be in the conversation as how they're. I mean, how are they going to be able to come back from what's going on? So,
I mean, corruption could totally get themselves right back in the ballgame with the IG tournament. You still have Mike, you still have Chance. If Chance happens to sneak by Parker, and then Mike happens to get by, we could have a corruption finale.
They need every single win because they're pretty low right now. They're in the lower half,
right,
point wise. So I'm not saying they're like the last one or second, but I mean they were definitely in the lower half. I believe they're obviously below Swag the Den and maybe one other. I can't remember. I know there's a handful that are like tied for like 4th or 5th place or something.
Yeah, I don't have the standing.
I don't have the current standings at the moment either.
Wait,
you should have that graphic up. I forget to put that graphic up.
Oh wait, okay, so I'm looking at it now. Oh, let's see. Whammy. Okay. So, corruption, in 5th place at 11 points, and the dungeon also at 11. So both of them, wham, they both need those points real bad. Both at 3 wins apiece out of 5.
That's true. There you go. Either faction could come roaring back. That's true. They both are, and there's Zipper, and Zipper is on the other side.
Yeah.
Although I'd love to see Zipper. I would love to see Zipper beat KO. I'd love to see it happen because I love Zipper as an underrated person, underrated competitor. I think that if he is studying as much as he's doing with the dungeon, maybe he'll surprise. That would be great to see.
Absolutely.
All right. Are you ready to move on to that match?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Speculations on Eric Zipper versus Mike Kalinowski.
I should have just saved that, huh? If I have to go at the end of the day, I'll just say I'll finish my thought on that. Then is that I do think KO will probably win because I think KO has been. My question about KO has always been about his swagger. He lost his swagger in Spectacular. He's come back, done well in teams, but I don't know what he's going to do when he's by himself again. If he's ready to be that cocky killer KO, or is he still feeling the after effects of getting knocked the fuck out by Spets? I don't know. He's talking the talk. He seems to want to put corruption on his back, him and Chance, and get them out of the cellar, like he said. He seems like he really wants to push forward on that. If he's ready to go and back on top, then I think he probably does beat Zip. But it should be a good match. Yeah.
I felt similarly like before the whole tournament started. I'm like, which Mike are we getting? Are we going to get Spectacular Mike or the Mike we've seen before in the past? And I feel the match we saw him in proves to me Mike's got his got it back. He's got the charm, he's got the charisma, he's got the knowledge, he's got the confidence. I think he's going to go into this match, especially with the win now, even more so in the game, feeling it. So I love Zip, and I would love to see an upset with Zip, but my money's going to be on Mike. I think Mike's definitely going to win.
If I can add real quick, I know before this whole tournament began, I did predict Zipper would upset Mike. That was before I saw Zipper's match, his previous match. I'd bought into the dungeon hype. After seeing Zipper's last match, I think he has improved. I just don't think he's quite there to be with Mike yet. I think given some more time, he could possibly get up to that level, but he's not quite there yet.
I definitely agree with you when it comes to Kalinowski. In my Sorry, I have like this weird hair situation. I look like a boy band member from the 90s right now. Like,
No,
you know, where
your
it's kind of like this, you know, like, you are my fire, the one
desire.
You are. I'm sorry. This is what happens when I don't get my weekly session of karaoke. What can I say?
So when are we going to make Peach Wade a musical? Is that going to be a thing? Just breaking a song for the entire...
I'm just waiting for like Canada to come out and be like, don't want to hear you tearing up. Oh my gosh, so good. We just go way off topic. I apologize. Yeah, my heart. I would love for an upset. This has been like this past few weeks. I've been full of upsets, not only between Ace's Rise, but even in this tournament with Hannah and everything. There's been so many upsets this season, which I love. Me being all about the upsets, so here for it. Yes. When it comes to Mike, you're right on the money. Eric, Mike needs that first win, especially because for him, I think it's psychological, like with a lot of competitors. But for him, if he's got it, when he's good, he's great.
What I'm saying, he did. He got it. He beat out when he beat out, but he got that boost. I think that's why he's going to go forward.
Exactly. Thing is, if he had lost, it would have been a thing. Okay. And but yeah, so I would love, but the thing is, I would love an upset. Like Zipper, I feel like he's fabulous. I love him. He's one of my favorite competitors in Schmoedown right now, even though he's played like 2 matches, like 1 or 2 matches. He's fantastic. And he's improved so much this season, being part of the dungeon. And, he's I feel like managers need to be judged not only in their points and how many belts they have and all that good stuff. I feel like managers also need to be judged by how much their competitors improve.
Yeah. Okay.
And how much, how they like rookie competitors, like how much do they improve as a competitor or starting up in the first match, or maybe they weren't a super motivated competitor, but suddenly they want it. They're greedy for it, like Zipper. And I feel like Kaiser with Zipper is match made in fucking heaven. Jesus. Just get him a radio show. I just really want to see him hang out, please.
Absolutely. I'd totally tune in for that.
Please, Kaiser. Do it, please. I want it.
All right. So I think it's a good coverage of speculations for the upcoming matches next week. So are we ready to speculate on some other things, like a certain tournament that has been announced and there's been some names dropped for?
Yeah, let's do that. We have all the entire 32-man/woman roster of who's going to be in the tournament. We should just break it down. Is it 36? Maybe did I say 32? I'm sorry. Yeah. 36.
Oh, wait. Let's say for a second, I was like, am I misremembering?
36. Sorry. I was told we weren't doing math in this show. It's 9 times
math.
There's a reason why we're podcasting, guys.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Let's just go through the tournament and there. Upset City.
Upset City.
Let's talk about. You know what? Let's talk about the swag crew there. Who they have put forth. They have put forth in the tournament Paul Ayama, Liz Shannon Miller, Lon Harris, and Frank Moran. Now that is some interesting stuff. Yeah, love you too, Win. Love you too. What do you think? I mean, it seems to me. I'll go first. Like Paul Yama's a definitive no-brainer. He's the former champion. He's got to get his going on. Liz Shannon Miller, again, a no-brainer. To me, she showed a lot of potential last year. She played some big matches and didn't quite get too far, but she definitely made a lot of improvements. I'm interested to see how the time off has helped her. I know she was very hyped by Ethan Irwin and back in the day. Lon Harris I love Lon Harris. He's my his character work and his skill set. He's always been one of those. He's always been one of those people who kind of had bad luck. He's never quite made it over the hump, so to speak. But he's definitely got the knowledge base. So I'm like to see that. The interesting one here for me was Frank Moran. I don't know much about him. I know he was in the free. He was in one of the free for alls, and he did pretty well, if I remember correctly. It lasted a little while. But what do you think? Is there anybody you're surprised? I mean, the ones who didn't get in there, like Josh McCougar's not in there, not Hlavik, not RB3, not Sean Gerber potentially. But what do you guys think?
I'm not super surprised. The first three you listed, I was kind of for sure were going to be in there, and then that fourth spot, I really was like equally like it could be anybody. So that really wasn't too shocked per se, but I'm super excited to see how everybody does. I think it's a great lineup, and I think great decision. Super excited for it.
Okay.
I do think it's definitely a smart combo. RB3, I feel like his record does not show his knowledge. He's such a really great competitor. He's played 5 matches. I think it's 4 or 5 matches, and he lost all of them. So he's 0 in like 4 or 5. That's a horrible record. And obviously, but I think he is obviously so much more than that. And also, this is over like his entire Schmoedown career. He's been with Schmoedown for a very long time, since like its inception. So they've been very spaced apart. So I don't feel like that really, like mentioning it, come out of that. But thing is, I'm honestly surprised he wasn't slipped into this one. But on the other hand, RB3, he might be one of those competitors that really thrives being part of a team more so than singles, just because of that pairing. Yeah, just everyone's a little bit different when it comes to, just being part of a team versus not. But anyway, but I do think Frank Morin, based off his free-for-all performance, great. I'm excited for him. I was really surprised about Lishan and Miller, to be completely honest.
You were surprised about that, really?
A little bit. I don't know. I feel like I read something on Twitter or something, hearing that she's traveling a lot or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering or something. Maybe I'm completely making it up. But I thought she was not going to be available for some reason actively for the next month or something. But I might be misremembering it. But I remember seeing her name and being like, that doesn't make sense. But again, maybe mixing her up with someone else.
I do think this is a good 4. I do think. By the way, yes, he is the lead host. Box office breakdown, not report, but he is the lead host in that. It's been off the air since of course, COVID.
Do you remember when Box Office Reports was actually part of Schmoedown?
I remember that.
What was questions would be like, how much money did Prince of Persia make in its opening weekend?
Yeah.
That was in season 1 and 2 questions like that. Are you serious?
Ridiculous.
That's bonkers to me. So
but I got Paul on. We're good. The only other, when you look at it, it makes more sense when you look at the rest of the roster, because the only other option, obviously, Ace isn't going to be in a singles tournament. Obviously, I think Sean Gerber was more Energeekdom. He was big on MCU. I remember he had the MCU exhibition match that he won last year. I don't know. I think he's in this year's as well. RB3 was the one possibility. Adam Hlavik's more Energeekdom now, I think. You could throw him in there. Josh McCougar is the other one who you never know what you're going to get with Josh McCougar. He's going to either really shit the bed or he's going to pull off some amazing upset. Although I kind of feel like with Josh, I do think that Josh McCougar his time for the major upsets is probably sliding by, because it is a different league back from when he was pulling those upsets into the Blue Fairy and things like that. So with that in mind, I think Frank Morin is a great 4th pick, because he does have a lot of potential. This is a good chance to let him shine and see what he can do. So I love this. I love this picks, Lewin, not just because you're in the chat or we're in the chat, but I think those are the great choices made for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll get rid of that. Ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right, who else we got here? We did swag. How about let's do the Den? How about that? The Den has chosen Rachel Silverstrini, James White, Paul Preston, and Tom. Now, with that in mind, I think Paul. I forget. I was arguing with somebody. I don't know. Was it you, Alex, or was it Dan? Yeah, I thought Paul and Tom were both definitively. That didn't shock me at all that Paul and Tom were in there. But somebody was saying that they were surprised that Tom and Paul were in the singles tournament. I didn't know why.
Yeah.
Was it you that I was fighting with on that?
Definitely not me.
Okay, then I don't know who it was I was fighting it, but because to me, I'm like, that makes no sense to me. I think Paul and Tom were definitively in there. As far as the other ones, Rachel is a great choice. Silverstream is a good fan of the show, big friend. I'm a big fan of her. She's also been one who's just above the cusp, trying to get over that notch, only losing to really high level competitors. And then the other question we have that we had I think it's the big drop off was not having Ben Goddard in there.
Yeah, I'm surprised, and yet also not surprised that Ben wasn't in there. I do feel he is kind of, I have to get to like the golden child thing for the den, but he was just in IG, and maybe he just plans probably for him for the Teams tournament. So maybe he just needed that break to like, okay, we're not gonna put you in the singles tournament. You can study up for teams or whatever. So I can see a strategy to not having him be in singles.
Well, it will also throughout the den. I mean, Kate has shown before that she's wanting to. I mean, this is why Brandon Hannah ended up on the Burning Drew, because she wanted to kind of spread the love out a little bit and give different people chances, and maybe that's part of what it is. I mean, I think that's maybe one of the reasons that James White is an attorney. He's been the golden boy. He's been wanting to. That's who she traded for. I'm interested to see that as well. I am surprised because Ben Goddard, you want to ride him while he's hot, kind of thing. You'll ride the rookie of the year status, keep it going. But maybe he needs a break. Maybe he just needs to concentrate on just being on teams and everything else, and kind of let him have his time and get other people another shot. But go ahead.
Well, especially after his loss, his IG loss, it was obviously a very frustrating match for him to be a part of. He also, like, the events leading up to his match, against Parker was like crazy. He had like a crazy day. He almost had to cancel the match and like had a forfeit because of like complications. His like Wi-Fi went out. He had something with his car. It was like a whole thing. There was a whole bunch going on that day. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pretty went like, I love being part of singles and everything, but at the same time, I just know I need to really hyper focus, recenter, especially after IG, which can be so daunting going into that as a competitor. To be like, hey, I just really want to study and focus on something that's a little bit later, being part of teams again. Because he's been playing quite a bit of matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's earned for his faction, he's won 10 points, which is more than like 5 factions.
Yeah, exactly.
And their entire like points for the whole year. So it's just like, I remember his like end lines like where he was like, who's the real winner here? I mean, come on, guys.
Maybe he'll fly in last minute to compete.
Oh, I felt so bad for him. Good Lord.
Funny. I don't know if he's got to deal with it. He's got to deal with that kind of thing, I think.
You know who I am surprised that wasn't in this? What? I was surprised but Tom got in. And I was really hoping Vanessa or Alex Marzonia was going to get in.
Over Tom?
Yes.
Really?
No, the thing is, I just heard like Tom, he likes being part of Schmoedown and everything, but he likes that being part of a team in particular, not only just because he doesn't have to, I don't want to say you don't work as hard because that's not the case. It's just like a different dynamic.
Okay.
Like, where it's not all him, so a different situation where the pressure's not all on you.
So you're surprised more. I'm sorry. You were saying you're surprised more that he wanted to be in the singles tournament, not that she picked him.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's a wonderful competitor pick. If he wanted to be in, like, you get your ass in there. He's fantastic. I think he's amazing. But yeah, I just heard that he feels more comfortable and more excited about the teams rather than singles. And not to mention, Alex Marzonia and Vanessa have been very vocal about how super excited to compete. So, yeah.
That's true. Maybe I think Vanessa might be geared. Maybe it depends on I guess the teams are already set for if they're going to go with the Pride and Tom and Paul. So I don't know.
I'll
have to see how that works.
And also Kate, she's been vocal about how she wants to put in more rookies.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Okay. All right. Anything else further about the den? The den. We good?
I think we covered it good.
Okay. Let's move on then. How about the Burning Droogs or possibly the Knights of Ken, as I hope they change it. See, I don't know how much Ken has been involved in terms of picking the competitors, but we'll see how it goes. We had Bonnie Somerville, Alonzo Duralde, Whitney Seibold, and Jader the Hurricane Paramo. I think everybody's kind of a little bit surprised about Bonnie.
I am a little surprised about Bonnie.
I feel like she's more of an event person, like more of a celebrity joke. I don't say joke match, but she's more like the fun time match, like her versus Brett Sheridan kind of thing. When you have people like JTE, when you have people like JT and Scott Mance on your faction, and then they're not in the tournament, I think this was actually, to me, I would have put JT in over anybody at that point. Anybody else. I don't know anything about Rebecca McKendry, though, by the way. I don't know anything about her, so I can't really talk about her. So maybe she's great and she should run it in. I don't know. But with that being said, I mean, the other three, I'll say that they all seem to be spot on. Alonzo, Whitney, and Jader. I have no problem with those. But Bonnie?
Choices.
I'm surprised Warfather wasn't involved. I really, I'm not surprised that I honestly, like JTE, I don't know if I would want him to play personally. Just because I've also heard that Schmoedown's a very different animal now. It is. The audience have changed, the competitiveness has changed, and JTE is just one of those competitors that's not studying. He doesn't want to study. His priorities are elsewhere, and that's totally fine. But he doesn't want to be part of Schmoedown as it is today.
I think well, man, I don't know.
Unless things have changed. And I've heard incorrect things.
Oh, I would say over Bonnie, though. Even if the game has passed him by a little bit, he'd still be more of a threat than Bonnie would be.
But what if he doesn't want to play, period?
That's true. I've heard, I know he's been on the Gucciverse show. I think he did want to play, as far as I know, especially now that it's all virtual now, or digital now. He doesn't have to fly to LA. Yeah. After he's say this is the time he can play more than anything else. So you might as well use that if you're going to. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't want to play. And that's something I don't really know. I never asked him directly, so I don't know. Maybe, and that's the case. That would be the only reason that would make sense to me. But at the same time, it's still, he's not the only one. I would have put in Scott Mance over him. I would have put in, I don't know, maybe Warfather more. Honestly, as much as you're really gonna think of a mole now, I honestly think Brandon Hanna would probably be better in a singles tournament than Bonnie Somerville would be. To be honest,
100%.
You're right, exactly.
You didn't know who directed Jess.
All right, we're not gonna have that Hannah talking here. Just kidding.
She didn't know who directed Jurassic Park, man.
I know. So, I mean, and I'm not gonna knock her, but she's just, it's not a. I don't want to knock her, but because I hate knocking.
She's here for fun. She's not here to study and compete and earn points. That's, again, a very different animal. That's fine.
It's perfectly fine to be that way. It's really fine to have those kind of matches. I love those kind of matches. Some of those great matches before, they had like the Wild Berries versus like the ETC, I think at one point. All those it's just silly fun matches. They're good, but they're just, it's not for the tournament, singles tournament for me. That's all.
I do know that Ben Rayner, you said, don't forget JT's a champion. He's also a champion that also, he's the reason why we have the JTE rule. So,
well, that's actually a bad thing.
That was because he found a strategy that worked for him. That was gameplay right there. It's just they realized that it's gameplay and they got rid of it.
Totally smart about it. And I'm like, you know what? If I had recognized that much needed situation where to take advantage, absolutely.
All right. Anything else on the Burning Drug / Knights of Ken, whatever?
I want more Warfather. I just want more Warfather.
Actually, I said this in the breakdown. I almost wouldn't have minded Warfather as the manager, because he could just come in instead of saying challenge, he would just come in and go, huzzah!
Exactly. I love Warfather. He's just so cool, man. I mean, he's so chill too. And he has good choices. He has good choices in beer. I was like, you and I. Let's be friends. Yes.
And the opportunity for more War Daddy jokes from Mark Ellis is always a plus as well.
Yes, well, son.
I'm into that.
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Well, how about we move on? We're good with moving on. Okay. How about moving on to the Finstock Exchange? Finstock, Bobby Gucci has chosen Mark Riley, the Barbarian, and this is where it gets kind of funky, but makes sense. Depending on the title, if John Roca or Dan Murrell have the championship, then the one who does not have the championship will be third, then Sabrina Ramirez will be in the tournament. If Ethan Irwin is the champion after the whole little mini tournament or whatever, then both John Roca and Dan Murrell will be in the tournament. Does that make sense? I think I'll X's and O's, so to speak. And quite honestly, I think this is pretty much exactly what had to happen, because Ben Bateman's not in the tournament definitively. It's already said because of where his match lies. His title shot is going to be sometime during the middle of the tournament. That being said, you got to give credit for Mark Riley. You got to have the Barbarian in there as the pretty much the possible rookie of the year, potentially the rookie of the year after. I mean, it's Goddard right now, and then I think then Barbarian, and then Parker, depending on how the IG tournament goes. But then you got to have Roca. You cannot not have Roca or Merle, then if they can both be in. So I almost hope Roca or Merle are the champions, because I would like to see Sabrina Ramirez in the tournament. Only partially because I have her in my fantasy team. But I would love to see. I think that she's got a lot of knowledge. I'm interested to see her play in the matches as well. So, but yeah, it makes sense to me. What about you guys?
Almost exactly what I thought. Like, just hearing like the specifics of like, well, this person does this and this for that I hadn't really got in my mind, of course. So now seeing it written down, it's like, okay, that totally makes sense. Excited to see where the chips may fall.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping, I'm like, I know it's not gonna happen, but I would love it if it did. I was like, Cody Hall and Gray Drake.
Those are the only two ones
I love them both so much. Every time Cody Hall is on screen, he's just like a ball of light, whether it's in the Jurassic Park match or if it was like that match against Lon Harris, and he almost beat him by 1 point in overtime.
Yeah.
That was an awesome match. If you haven't seen that match, go watch it. It's great. And Gray Drake, she's phenomenal.
I love Gray Drake.
You can't sleep on her as a competitor. So.
I agree. I do think I don't remember where I heard that. I believe that Gray and Cody were both pretty busy for the tournament anyway, so it might have been a scheduling thing as well.
I know Cody's he's like a baby. He's a baby daddy. He is a baby daddy now.
Yep.
He's a very young, I think, young son. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Absolutely. So with all that in mind, Bobby Gucci's strategies make complete sense to me. So we'll have to find out. How that goes with the little mini tournament with Roca, Irwin, and then Myrtle, of course. So, all right, good. Are we good with that? We're good with Finstock?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on down. Then we'll go down to Corruption. Here we go, Corruption. Again, I think this one made a lot of sense to me. We got Adam Collins, the rookie sensation, who drafted or didn't draft. Picked him up in the free agency period, so obviously he picked him up for a reason. Chance Ellison absolutely makes all the sense in the world. Marisol McKee, who we met, or I didn't actually get a chance to meet. You guys met her better. Yeah. And she's another rookie type sensation. I've heard a lot of good things about from the fan leagues, and she's going to make her debut. I'm happy to see that. Always happy to see some debuts. And finally, the interesting part was the Mike Kalinowski, which is to be decided, because we don't know what the situation is with Ghai and that match. I forgot if he's going to play that match, if he's going to be involved in that mini side of that little mini tournament or whatever between him, Ghai, and Ben in the number one contendership. Obviously, we're going to have to find out. I kind of almost had the feeling like, well, maybe not. I think Shannon made a good point. If you're going to put somebody in as a possibility, you put Mike in there as the possibility, because he's probably going to be the get to. If he decides not to be in the tournament, he'll be in the. If he's not going to be in the Ghai match, then he will be in the tournament.
Yeah.
But we have the other people who are left out because of this. Mark Edward Hoyk.
I know.
Elliot Dewberry. Let's see. Rick Ramos, who I don't know much about. Clee Wiggins, who we do know about.
Yeah.
And Claudia Dolph. So we do know a little bit about her as well. I think all the ones that she mentioned all make sense to me. It does suck not to have Mark Edward Hoyk in there. I really wanted to see Mark Edward Hoyk in there, but I don't know who I'd replace him with. Maybe Collins, but that's why you picked him up for some reason.
Marisol. I'm a lot more. I'm very confident in Adams as a competitor. I have my competitors in my faction go up against him, and he's fan-flippin-tastic. He's so wonderful. He's a great guy. I love him to death. He's always also like super chill. Like he's deceivingly chill. He comes off as this like California surfer dude. Like, hey man, how's it going? Like, isn't it such a beautiful day? It's nice, hot out. Oh, cool. And then suddenly he whips out this knowledge, and I'm like,
Nice.
And it's fantastic. I've like every single time I'm just amazed, and he's like almost perfect every single time. So I also, but Marisol, she hasn't played in as many matches. I actually asked her to come join my faction, but by the time she joined, I asked her to join. She's like, actually, they just told me they're gonna put me in the draft. So I was like, shh. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because she only played like a handful of matches at that point. So, but she's pretty amazing. But Mark Hoyk, I know he has gone through some personal stuff recently. Yeah, so it makes sense. I do love him. But I makes complete sense, given what's going on, for him to kind of wait to be saved for teams.
That might be what it is. It might be that he's too tied up in personal things. I mean, that's why he's not coming to the tournament. So I'll have to find out what happens with that. If that isn't the case, then I would think that he would be the one picked. If Mike doesn't be in the tournament, then that's my choice.
Or Elliot.
Elliot's always a long shot. I think that's I wouldn't mind seeing. I think he's better than he comes off at sometimes. Right. We have the Dewberry named after him after all. But
remember how great he was when he was part of the experiment?
He was good.
He was good. He was great. He had like a perfect first round.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't sleep on him as a competitor. Mm-hmm.
Kelsey, anything you want to add?
Just an agreement that I am super excited to see Marisol and Adams in here. Like, it's great to see some rookies in there, because I don't even know how to articulate my words right now. I like this lineup right now. Mm-hmm. I think it's sort of expected, sort of not. I like what they have Shannon's chosen to do with it. I am interested to see what happens with Kalinowski, because I think as much as he's shining in IG, he could be shining like that in singles as well. Who knows? Maybe we can have another run at Mikey 3 belts. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Mikey 2 beers.
Rude.
I like my name. I like my name. That's good enough. I love him. You know that. He knows that.
And Kelsey, half a shot. It's fine.
All right. So moving on, we'll move on to the Quirky Mercs. We have William the Beast Bibiani that was our good scoop. Brendan Meyer, Perry Nemiroff, and Tim Franco. Bibiani and Meyer to me were absolute no-brainers. I would have been shocked if it wasn't them. Tim Franco was also to me kind of a no-brainer, because he doesn't get to play much because of his location, but when he plays, he shows great trivia knowledge. So this is the perfect time to get him during the digital era.
Where is he from?
Arizona.
He's
in Arizona. Okay. He doesn't get to drive out as much, but he's been great. He's been great when he's been here. I am a little. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because they picked up Perry in the free agency time. But I would think Haley Fouch would have been a better choice than Perry Nemiroff. I think Haley Fouch has shown a little bit more than Perry has. Yes. We'll have to see what Perry can do. Maybe Perry's situation. I know Perry is very competitive, and that's actually why she stepped away, because she was kind of sick of losing and she didn't want to play anymore. So maybe she's ready to come back and kick ass. But if it was me, if I was Coy, I would have chosen Haley Fouch probably. And then Greg and John Humphrey are also both potential to get real rejects, but they're probably going to save them maybe for the tag team tournament or whatever, maybe.
John Humphrey, he's labeled on the faction roster being part of IG and teams, not singles.
Okay, maybe that's all it is then. That's fine.
But also, alternatively, I don't know if this is. I feel like this is just incorrect, not just up to date or something, because Greg Alba is only listed under teams.
Oh, obviously it's out of date. Yeah, because he definitely did the IG.
Like an older version. So forget that part. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Haley Fouch, I feel like she's fantastic. I really, really want to see more from her. Mm-hmm. But honestly, low-key, I do feel like this is probably the most well-rounded faction.
Foursome.
Foursome picks, for sure. Compared to me personally, compared to everyone, Perry, personally, this is just my picks as far as like well-rounded.
I mean, I'm just challenging. I'm throwing it out there. How about Finstock Exchange versus them? Because the Finstock Exchange is pretty well rounded too. Just throwing it out there, the potential.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're like a bad group or anything. It's just, to me, they're just much more well rounded group. And not to mention, I really love that that there is, rookies in there and I consider personally Perry a rookie, even though she's not technically a rookie.
She's played quite a bit.
In the second, third, and fourth season. But I mean, it's just been a while since she's competed, and like she stepped away. She's like a rookie into the world of Schmoedown as we know today. So I mean, she was part of just a very different world,
I agree with that. I guess.
Schmoedown. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kevin Smith was the other potential, but Kevin Smith wasn't going to be in the tournament anyway. We knew that. Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho are not going to be in tournaments. That they're going to have their own special.
Gotta save them for something special.
So,
all right, and yeah, my view is I wasn't surprised by anything other than Perry as well. I had Haley as my bet, and so I'm hoping that means maybe Perry's been studying and brushing up on things and is raring to go. Maybe she'll surprise us and be super impressive. But from past tape, I thought Haley was going to be that spot.
Well, potentially, maybe this is again we're going to be always throw it out there. Maybe it's a scheduling thing. Maybe Haley couldn't do it, and we don't know that
as well.
So always throw that out there. You never know. So
yeah, they were like best friends too. The Witchy Hour is so good. They're
good.
Their podcast together.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Thanks, everyone. So Cheryl, I believe. Thank you, Cheryl. Let's see. Moving on to the next faction.
Yes.
All right. The Rock Stars is what I have next in here. We got Jeff Snyder, Mark Andreyko, David Del Rio, and Jim Vejvoda. Who I'm glad I could say that name finally, Vejvoda, because I always stumbled over it. I will say that this was a very interesting one for me. I mean, obviously, it's a no-brainer that they're going to have Andreyko and Jeff Snyder.
Yep, I figured they were going to be in.
That was definitive. I think Jim Vejvoda is a good pick. I like because I think he has shown that he has a lot of depth of knowledge. He struggles more in the gameplay aspect of it still. But the big question I had was, where is Stacey Howard?
Yeah, that's the one that I was surprised. I was kind of shocked not to see Stacey on there because she's just when she hits hard, and I feel like she could have been really solid in the singles tournament. So I was interested to see she wasn't there.
Especially hot off her awesome win against Zipper. That was such a great match. Still my personal favorite match of the year. I know that's a hot take compared to with everything going on in Star Wars and everything going on, but I love Stacey Howard is one of my favorite competitors in Schmoedown of all time. She's underrated. She's not used enough. But also, I mean, like you said, schedules, stuff like that. I totally understand if things can work out and she has to be only in teams, for the rest of the, season, but who knows?
I will say both. I mean, like I said, Jeff Snyder, Mark Andreyko were the two. So it comes down to the three choices being Del Rio, Vejvoda, and Stacey. Del Rio actually has shown a lot of potential in a short amount of time. Even though he lost runs, he didn't lose big, and he was in it to the end. So maybe this is the idea of putting him. And then, of course, I got to throw it out there again. I keep throwing it out there. We don't know scheduling. There might be something behind the scenes that we don't know about, and that might be the reason why. But overall, I do think any of those three are good choices. But I do think that it must be a scheduling thing for Stacey. Otherwise, she would be in there, unless Stacey wants to concentrate on teams and be a second team, possibly.
Yeah. I do think David Del Rio, he's I think his record is like 1-1 or something like that.
I think it is.
Something along those lines. I know he's definitely won one and he's lost one, but I don't know if it's how specific it is. Oh wait,
he's 1-2. He beat Whitney Seibold, lost to Liz Shannon Miller, but then lost to Paul Preston. So his losses are against Paul Preston.
Those are, if you're going to lose to someone, that makes sense, all things considering. I do feel like considering her roster, I feel like this is aside from Stacey, this is like the best combination of competitors that you can get because, looking at it, looking at her potential, the other potential singles. Let me see if I remember.
It's Alex Damon, who's not going to be there. It's Jared Habon, who kind of flirted with it a little bit, but he's not that great. Adam Gertler, I know, is too busy. She mentioned that on her podcast that he had some restaurant issue, and I don't know, he owns a restaurant. It's been whatever. Josh Gavedo's Star Wars, and Chris Jericho is not going to be in the. He's not going to be in a tournament. So that was it. It was those three for the final two spots.
Yeah. So I think literally this is the best combination that she could get right now. She could have hoped for. Absolutely.
Thank you, Ben, for the super chat, Ben Rayner.
Thank you.
I would have swapped Jeff for Stacey Howard, save Snyder and Mark for teams. Stacey needed to gain some experience. Surprise Roxy made this choice, in my opinion. That would have been interesting. Taking Snyder out of the singles tournament. I don't necessarily think I agree, only because Snyder he's been in a title match before. He did lose to Oyama, but he barely lost to Oyama, and he was close to being a champion. So I think the kind of guy he's with his. Again, I'll go back to that chutzpah word. He's got that chutzpah. He can play against anybody. Cojones. It's testicular fortitude. He can
testicular fortitude.
He can
put that on the shirt.
He could play against anybody. So I do like Jeff Snyder. I think I would have put Jeff and Mark both in there myself.
I also suddenly remember when he loses, it's not a big loss. Like when he went against Ethan Irwin, holy crap, that match was great. Oh, it came down to the 5-pointer and it was fantastic. And also Schnikes. He plays consistently well. He's one of those competitors. Like he doesn't have a bad match.
Right.
Like Stacey Howard, I love her, but that's her big thing. It's a hit or miss kind of situation. You're not entirely sure where you're going to go. With Jeff, he's going to do well, but how well is he going to be? So that's the big thing. That's the gamble. So.
I will say he has had one bad match, and part of that is his mental thing. Remember his giving up match against Bibiani? That was pretty shitty of him. But
considering what was going on, I mean, that makes sense.
That was a one-time thing, and he's worked out since Roxy's been his manager. He's been better at that, so hopefully that'll never happen again. But I feel like that's got to mention it. That does potential to happen. But yeah, so all right. Anything else on the rock stars? Anybody sat with that?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Great combo. Mm-hmm.
All right, we got two more factions. We got the Dungeon. We got Drew Grant, as was broken on Chilled Action. We got Vinny Mancuso. We got Eric Zipper, and we got Andres Gallegos. Well, this pretty much is what I would think it would be, because they're built for IG. They are built for IG. So Drew Grant is great. She's a good choice. Eric Zipper has made his way in this choice. Andres Gallegos, who we know is a friend of Eric of Nerd Chronic. I've had a lot of talks with him myself off there. He definitely is knowledgeable. I'm very happy to see him make it. He actually helps write questions for Video Chronic, I believe it is as well. He's going to write, I think she was going to write the Crow question.
They live together.
Yeah, at least I don't
like all of them. Eric, Gallegos, and Drew, and I think one other person. They all live together.
Right.
So it's a full-on dungeon household.
I guess the only questionable person would be Adam Witt. Why wouldn't we put Adam Witt in? But again, I don't know who you put over. You put him over Zipper. You put him over. I mean, want Gallegos to play, Mancuso, and Drew Grant's got the character and the chutzpah to kind of get through. So I think she could be there as well.
Yeah, that's my thing. I want to see Adam Witt. Any excuse to see more Adam, I'm not going to turn down because he's a joy. But I also don't necessarily know where I would put him. You know what I mean? Like who I would replace him with.
Yeah,
he's never played in a singles match, has he? I don't remember him in a singles. I remember him in teams.
Adam Witt?
Star Wars, of course. Yeah.
I thought, didn't he play?
I think he's just in team. Has been in teams at that. But
let me double check. I thought he did. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he did one. Where was he? No, it was just Star Wars. Never mind. It was just Star Wars. He was in the free for all. He's in 2019. He's in the free for all.
Mm-hmm.
I did a Video Chronic match with him once.
Right.
It was over Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I mean, not to brag, but he's Wit. Obviously, he's so awesome, dude. I love Adam. He's just amazing in every single way. Adam, I want more of you. All the time. He's so funny.
I love Adam Witt.
He did mention that his schedule for the next few weeks is crazy jam-packed with projects. So I don't know. I wonder if he was offered, but he's just not available.
Okay,
because he just mentioned, doing everything he does. He just mentioned that his schedule's crazy at that time, but he couldn't go into specifics. But maybe he was lying. Who knows?
Who knows? Okay.
But yeah, I do think this is also Ace. He's been very vocal about how he cannot wait to get in. He was like actively campaigning to, be drafted to some capacity. But also Vinny, yo.
By Ace, did you mean Owen? Ace, when you say Ace, who are you talking about?
I think.
Gallegos.
Andres. Okay, Andres.
Yeah,
Okay.
Andres. Yeah, so Drew and I call him Ace as well.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, through Cinebias. But Vinny, he's crazy knowledgeable. Like casual knowledge is bonkers. But Vinny Mancuso, dude, he played that match, that team match against the Pride, and that was a great flippant match. He shows like he knows what he's doing, and I appreciate that. He's strategizing already, and so I'm really excited to see him. Yeah,
I am too. I very much so am. The only other questions we had were Brittany Young and Rick Hong, the other Tom, as they say, and
Brittany. It was like I was like, this is not going to work. No, schedule wise, I want more of her because she's amazing. Yeah. But I just know realistically her schedule
makes sense
to work. Yeah,
that makes sense to me. Yeah. So,
maybe teams. Never know. That'd be dope.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Anything else further about the dungeon?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Then the last thing we got is the usual suspects. We got Sabrina Graves, Matt Atchity, Robert Montano, and then Ethan Irwin if he's not champion, and Jen Kemp if he is champion, which means no Andrew Ghai, no Janine the Machine, and no Doug Benson. That's not a surprise though. He's got one of the more celebrity type people. They tend to not be in the tournaments, but Ghai and Atchity are a little. I'm sorry, Ghai and Janine. Janine is definitely the more surprising to me. If only because if you've watched the action streams here and there, it does seem like Andrew. First of all, Andrew is not. He loves teams more than he loves singles anyway, and also he's involved in that whole possible number one contender match anyway. So it might be a fact. He's like he might already be doing that. So why even bother doing it either way? So I think that's gonna be his shot at the title. And if he doesn't get that, he's like, fuck, I'll just do teams.
I honestly thought there might have been like a very how they were talking about with the exchange. It's like if this happens, then we're gonna put this person in. So I kind of thought like, if Andrew Ghai hypothetically did this, like a TBA kind of situation, like Sabina would be in there. But if he, I'm surprised that he wasn't even in the conversation as potential competitors considering.
Yeah, it is surprising. But again, so if we had to knock out Ghai and say that was the reason why he wasn't going to do it, Janine is a big question mark. I don't know if she wants to be in teams. Maybe she wants to concentrate on teams after the IG tournament. Maybe that's what it is. Otherwise, I would put Janine. If I was looking to purely maximize my points, I would put Janine over Sabina Graves, who's okay. I just don't have enough gameplay on her. I think Janine has more. Definitely gameplay knowledge, if nothing else, and she's a very smart competitor as well. But the other three, that's where I would go. Matt Atchely's a shoo-in for me. He's got the knowledge, he can do it. Robert Montano is crazy good. I think he's hasn't had a chance to really do much outside of late to the party, but I'd like to see him. He definitely has knowledge.
Has he played a singles match?
What was that?
Him and Vanessa, neither one of them played singles, I believe.
I think they were in the free-for-all. I believe that's about it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe. I'm not even sure that's even true, to be honest with you. But I thought they were in a free-for-all. Let's see.
Yeah,
they were.
Were the free-for-all.
Two free-for-all, actually. So, okay. He was in two free-for-alls. But the other question, and then there's Cameron Rice. I don't know what Cameron Rice actually is. He in the singles? Is he a tournament guy? I don't know what he would be. So that's the other person. So I can't really comment on him and whether or not they should put him in there. So I think Janine is the one that's the big question, I get to me. Hopefully
I agree.
Sabina shows why she's put in the tournament. For maybe she'll show why Sam is a brilliant man. Maybe I don't know what to say. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm exactly with you. Janine was the big one I was surprised to see not in there. She's such a strong singles competitor, and also any excuse to see Janine compete, I'm not going to turn down. So I was kind of bummed not to see her in there, but I'm sure there's reasons. And who knows? Maybe it means she's prepping for an awesome team's run, which would be awesome. So yeah, otherwise I think it's awesome. Pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be. So.
Coach Wit, I guess, is getting Drew Zip in the ice pick and the ghost ready for this tourney. Okay, all right. Maybe Wit just wants to coach, help guys out. I get that. That makes sense.
That's
makes
real.
sense.
Having a competitor on deck in the faction to help you, it's amazing. It really is. I do think when it comes to the usual suspects, I'm kind of low-key not surprised that she wasn't picked. She's obviously an amazing competitor. It's just I know that I think it was like mentioned in the chat as well. I heard that prior that she declined singles in March. Yes, Janine. I don't know if that's true or not, but so I kind of had in my mind for a bit now that she, and that she declined, and I had in my mind for a few weeks now that she's not going to be competing. But also, I mean, like looking at the roster, the potential competitors, Cameron Rice, Doug Benson, I mean, honestly, I think this is like the only options you have realistically, honestly, as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Actually, so at the end of the day, when you look at all the entire selections, there weren't that many shocking or surprises. And Stacy was the big one, and if Janine did decline singles, then that's probably the big one. So other than that, I think I'm ready to go. I want this to start soon.
Yeah.
I want this to start. I could want this to start today. I don't know. Do we have any? We have to have the bracket. Hopefully, the bracket will be announced soon, and then we can start speculating again. We'll have a whole lot of speculation show based on the matches we get to see these people play against, for the seeds go and everything else. But we got to get to the tournaments first, of course. The IG, and of course, Erwin and we can touch base on those. We got the announcements of the matches. I don't have Erwin and Roca. That's coming up the 31st. There you go. 31st, Roca versus Erwin, and then winner facing Myrtle, of course, and then final exam versus Deep 13. That's going to be a good match too. That's a great undercard. That's going to be a good, solid, fun match. I want to see that. So, I don't know. And Ben, I don't know. I don't think that's true. That's true. Just think it's not. They're not in the tournament. I think you might get them. I think you might get them a spectacular type thing.
Spectacular, I think, is where they're being saved for. Whether it's live or not, I think spectacular is where we'll see them.
Yeah. Not to mention it's considering who they are, they're not exactly people that we can just casually schedule in like 2 weeks. We have to play in months in advance. So my money's on spectacutor though. You just have to be consider their intense schedule.
Exactly. And let's get ready to talk Schmoedown podcast, which I love those guys. So that's where she said that I might have missed that. I didn't miss that interview. I haven't gotten to check it out yet, but I will go take a listen because I do like them and Janine. So we'll do that soon. So, and
also they're an amazing podcast, so go check them out if you haven't had the chance yet.
Love Shuggy, love Justin Hambone.
Sugar.
Fuck Ferris.
Sugar.
But I love Ferris too, so it's okay. We always say fuck Ferris as a term of endearment.
Whiskers is fun.
Whiskers is fun. Exactly.
Or a weenie. I'm just gonna stick with that. He's a weenie.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I mean, the other match that was announced too in August. Smets versus Chandru and the Pride versus Final Exam or Deep 13. There you go with that. So
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, that's fine. You go ahead. No, you go ahead. Ladies first. Go ahead.
I am low-key more excited for that other match than the IG match.
Really?
Teams is my favorite league. It is. League, division, tomato, the same thing. But just going back to that. Let me bring up that thing again. Bring it up. I love Final Exam and Deep 13 so much. I also love the Pride so much. And Smets is amazing. Chandru, also amazing. But the teams division is my favorite. So hard.
Okay.
And not to mention, I mean,
I'm looking forward to
IG is amazing.
I have missed Smets, seeing Smets play. so much all year long. So I want to see Smets take out Chandru. Chandru's fine, but Smets is my boy. Smets is my he's my ride or die kind of boy. I mean, love that boy so much. Smets is
wrong word to describe Chandru.
Chandru is fine. Chandru's a nice guy. He's a friend of the podcast. I like talking to him, but Smets is my boy. He's my boy.
I'm not doubting that. Smets is amazing in every single way. I love Smets, but fine is the word you want to go with. Interesting.
I stand by it.
Interesting. In the words of my grandma, ja. Oh, no. You got to be careful. You got to be careful that.
Fair enough.
It's okay for me to say that. I'm doing my grandma. I'm impersonating my grandma.
That's okay. That's okay. But I want Smets. I want Smets so bad. I want to see Smets more than Ruka wants Damon's ass. That's a lot.
I'm gonna clip that so fast. What time is it? 1:30? I'm gonna say it's 1:33. Wait, yeah, 1:33.
Write that down.
Yeah.
I'll never bet against Smets. Never bet against Smets.
Paul's ass.
Paul's ass. Now we're talking about my ass all of a sudden.
I'm gonna do a little grabby motion.
Now you're grabbing my ass. I don't know if Lucas is gonna like this. This is not. This is going in bad places.
Like a little grabby motion. Oh, look.
Wow.
That's how much you want.
Wow.
Oh wait, those look like lobster claws. Looking at now,
a little lobsterish, yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh, wait,
I didn't know my ass looked like that, but okay.
I'm gonna do. Wait, what's that crab from SpongeBob now?
Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
Schnikes. Yeah, it's a crab now.
Wow,
Welcome
we have
to
just
the art lesson.
This has gone off the rails all of a sudden. Okay.
All right, are we ready to move on to
It's more of
our next segment, which is not the art hour?
My ass became a crab. Okay, I love it.
It could have been worse. It could have had crabs. So it became a crab.
That's pretty much what I'm saying too. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here on C2A tonight.
Oh boy.
Thank you.
All right. Well, moving on to our next segment. If you guys are ready, it is called To the Network. We talk about all the cool, awesome shows. I really need to update that graphic. We don't even have half those shows anymore.
That's true. We have a lot of changes coming up. We're throwing in there, so we got all the graphics in there, but.
Yeah, we'll work on things. But yeah, Call Network shows that we have upcoming this week, starting with tomorrow, Paul.
I love that song so much. I can't help it. They're dancing all the time.
It's so good. Yep, I got my chill music dance.
Yeah, love Koi.
So
love
good.
Koi. I can't wait to talk to Koi. He's gonna be a great guest on the show tomorrow. I can't wait to talk to him about everything Schmoedown and like comic books and everything else. So it should be lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be so great.
We're not saying you have to. That's up to you. But there is a reason why the probably colors are what they are. If you look at the where's the overlays here, like see that reason why that's like this. Weird how that works. Anyway,
do what you must. All right, and then later that week, Alex, do we have something planned for Schmobates this week?
Yes, we do. This one right here has been begging for a Schmo bait. And so I'm pretty excited to have that scheduled with him. I'm still in the process of getting a co-host, but that's something I'm actively working on. So no confirmations yet. But Paul's going to be going up against an Alan Smithy, a huge Star Wars fanatic, but also director. So I'm excited. He's no stranger to debating stuff on camera, being part of the Generals as well, done the Generals debate a handful of times. And so he's pretty fantastic. But also Paul, he's okay. You know,
I'm ready to crush him.
Paul's fine.
That's okay. Let's calm down now. But yeah, so it's gonna be really fun. But also, it's going to be a Star Wars tourney themed debate. So all questions are going to be related to the Star Wars tournament matches. So it's going to be real fun. Now, this whole thing. But I'm kind of curious. Who do you guys want to see as my co-host? But please give me ideas. I would really love that.
For a Star Wars themed co-host.
I'm going through, and I need someone to do it with me.
Let's see. We could. We'll figure it out. Maybe Ace. Maybe we've had a lot of fun with him. We could do.
I feel bad. I would love to have Ace back on, but I'm also Drew and I were trying to get him on Tuesday for a Bond episode of Cinema Bias. She's never seen a James Bond movie, which I'm like,
wow.
Yeah. So in Ace, we just learned from him with from the breakdown the other day. He loves James Bond movies, so I was just like, yeah, we should see about possibly getting him on. I messaged Kalinowski, but unfortunately, he's not available.
Yeah,
but you never know.
Could be Andrew or Nikki if she's around too. That's another one.
Andrew and Nikki
or both.
Oh,
Demi. Love Demi. Love me some Demi. She's awesome, and Andrew's also awesome. So.
All right. Well, while you work on that, all you
gotta do is say James Bond, and that's Frank's gonna pop right up.
Yes. Are you a big James Bond person?
Oh
yes.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I have no clue. I never knew that. He is.
Oh yeah, he is the biggest. He's in the. You're looking for Bond, but Tim is your guy.
Very soon about possibly coming on Cinema Bias. Just giving you a heads up. Are you available on Tuesday? This Tuesday. Please.
We're having negotiations in our chat during the live show.
Are you available right now?
High quality entertainment.
That's a good question. This is something I ask her all the time. I ask her that all the time, just so you know, Tim. So it's not just you.
I don't know.
It's actual.
I don't know, dude.
There you go.
Woo!
There you go. So
I do. Come on now. Come on.
I can't wait for the Bond match. I've been waiting. I've been pushing for that Bond, the Bond exhibition match that he's involved in for a long time.
It was filmed a while ago.
It's filmed. That's true. Keep trying to get it. I have money on Tim Franco, so I'm hoping that he came through for me. So
did he compete in it? I assume
so. Based on him, KO.
I remember
Gilmore.
I remember Gilmore. Emma was announced, but she ended up dropping out. But Kalinowski, obviously, for some reason in my head that
Brad Gilmore was definitely. I remember
Brad. Yeah, dude, don't blame me though for not knowing that you're like a Bond.
Obviously, didn't watch our chill episode.
Yeah, or lots of episodes of live because we we talk about it all the time.
I'm on like every other episode live. What are you talking about? It's scheduled to air in November.
It was because Bond was pushed back to November originally. I think that was the idea. They're going to push it when the new Bond film came out. They're going to do the Bond exhibition match.
Oh.
That's what the original. I didn't know it's probably pushed back now. They're probably like, well, we already have it scheduled for November now. So.
Is the Bond movie even coming out in November still?
Not anymore. Yeah. But they just figured they might as well just keep it there at that point because it's already.
There's gonna be they're gonna have like 4 matches a week for the next few weeks. So it's like, you're gonna get a lot of content.
Indeed.
They'll save it for like 3 years from now or something. Remember that one time?
That's very true too. That is very true.
That is fact.
Bond and Melt movies.
I knew about Melt movies, Tim. I knew about that.
That too. That is true.
Oh yeah, I know about those 2 things. I remember watching you a little bit with the. You also told me what a Melt movie was. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes, it is.
I thought it was like slime movies or something, but you were like, no, this is a total category. It's not slime, it's melt movies. And I watched a little bit of Tim. You were with the Cinefanatics.
Fanatics. That's right.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. The Stuff. I think it was one of the big movies that we were talking about. But
were they like trying to tell like yogurt grossness and everyone's eating it?
Melt movies.
All right, and then later in the week we will have episodes of breaking down matches as they come out. I guess we'll probably have 2 this coming week, as we said earlier, with Parker joining us for one of them, and that will be pretty awesome. So keep an eye out for that. And then of course, live on Sundays. There may be some changes to live though, so keep an eye out. We've got some ideas bubbling.
Some format shift, maybe a little bit. We're going to find out. What is a melt movie? I've seen that in a couple. Some people in the question have asked that. A melt movie is basically any movie that features like really gratuitous or like really disgusting, horrific melting of like the human body into like, puddles of goo, gelatinous substances. It's like a horror subgenre of sorts in a way. Sci-fi horror thing, yeah, pretty much. But it's basically body melting stuff.
But I do want to mention an example. I don't know about Jack Frost. I don't think Jack Frost is technically smell.
I mean,
that's a solid question there, Ryan. That's a solid question.
That's a solid question. Franco, can you like clarify to us? Is Jack Frost a melt movie?
Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Indiana Jones movie.
Theoretically,
technically, there's a cool scene where he's like, rah! And he like melts away in a matter of like 5 seconds, kind of thing. I don't know if I would call it a melt movie, but it's definitely a melt scene.
And no, it's not a bad movie. It's a B movie. A B movie can be good for various reasons. So.
Oh, B movies can be wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're not going to be Oscar award-winning movies usually. Probably, you're right. But mute Alex for 2 minutes, Team Lucas. Well, it was a super chat, so I guess I have to do so, right?
We're trying. She has too much power.
There's a reason why. Brittany's a favorite. Sorry, not Brittany. I don't want to say Brittany. Sorry, Bethany. Sorry.
I tried.
Favorite. She's better. Superior in every way.
There you go. The ultimate melt movie is street trash. Just watch the melting. The movies are rough. Yeah, it's true. It is a little rough.
I feel like if you're gonna make a melt movie as a director, it's probably like there's so much. You must have like such a genuine love for the genre because it's so difficult to do.
Right.
You know? Like it's so purposeful. You know, it's not something you can't casually have a melt scene or a melt plot. No, it's like a thing. You know, unless you're Spielberg, but still, you gotta want it.
Exactly. So, well. Anyway, is that all of our?
I think that's everything we have scheduled at this point. Upcoming. If we have any new stuff coming out, we'll keep you posted on social media. So make sure you're following us everywhere. Mm-hmm. We'll plug more stuff later. But moving on to our last segment of the night, questions from the chat. Please send in your questions, Schmoedown related or not. Streamlabs and Super Chats do take priority, but get your questions in and we will answer them.
You will definitely answer them. It could be Schmoedown related. It could be, anything you want. Ask anything you want, because if we don't answer, we'll skillfully dance and deflect if we want to. But otherwise, we'll answer anything, pretty much anything.
It's very skillfully dance and deflect.
So let's see.
Hello, baby. Hello, mama. No, 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 take
the snowman on melt
movie. Baby, my heart's on fire.
This process is a melt movie. I don't know. Again, that's one of those good questions you have to ask. Is heavy metal considered melt? I don't know, Tim. What do you think about that? Heavy metal considered melt?
Music genre? I'm confused.
Has a movie? You never heard of the movie Heavy Metal?
I'm confused.
That's there's a movie called Heavy Metal. It's hard to explain. I think you just have to go watch it.
That's not helping when you say stuff like that, dude.
It's a cult classic.
You're talking to a girl that hasn't seen any Lethal Weapon movie or even Terminator. How am I going to see this random cult movie? Like, this is not common knowledge, my dude.
I mean,
I really got to do.
I watched Blade Runner yesterday for the first time. So
I have to get a gift.
I've seen that.
I've got a gif of Padme saying you're breaking my heart, but
Breaking my heart.
You're going that you're going. Is it going down a path?
that I
I
can't follow
Oh,
because of Obi-Wan. Because of what
Dude,
you've done.
Daddy one.
should have been
That
like
me.
yeah.
TikTok. Daddy one.
Daddy one. All right, we're going with that. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we got anything else. Brandon Buckingham. Do we think we'll have anything on Twitch for the rest of the year for MTS? I think so.
I think successfully as the Star Wars tournament went, especially that last match when there was like 11, 12,000 people watching at one point. I think they've seen that it's a market that they definitely tap into and get some growth from. I'm sure at least some of those new people are now interested in the Schmoedown, and that's awesome.
Hopefully, yeah. Fingers crossed, a lot of new fans. Absolutely.
So
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like the teams tournament on Twitch or whatever. Maybe like a singles on YouTube, teams on Twitch or something like that. Like possibly, I don't know. Have to see. I think definitely at least have exhibitions or something. It's something because they like the Avenue, and I think Skybound likes the Avenue, so I think that's a definite plus for them.
I wouldn't be surprised if like the first and second match or so would be pre-recorded, just because there's a lot of risk factors involved. They probably a few kinks that would want to work out because it is teams in particular virtually especially difficult to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if they would want to work out a few kinks first before going on Twitch then.
You know what? I take it back. I assumed you could do, I mean, you can do pre-recordings on Twitch, but why would you, I guess? I guess that makes sense. Yeah, you're probably right.
But they have done that before.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what to say. Let's see, Ryan Kramer predictions for this week's upcoming quarterfinal matches. We did do that earlier, but we'll do it again. I predict Parker over Chance, and I predict Kalinowski over Zipper.
I predict Kalinowski over Zipper, and Chance and Parker I'm super down the middle on. I guess I'll vote Parker if I had to pick one, but I'm like 50-50 on that.
Okay.
Kalinowski, I want to say confidence level absolutely is, Parker, but I'm just to be contrarian, I'm going to go with, Chance now. Just to go just because I can, because, surprise, it's me.
Fair enough.
But obviously, I wouldn't be surprised, obviously. He'd be knocked out of Parker, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Tavishka Productions, can we super chat to mute Alex again? I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, you can
Try
try.
our best.
You're giving us money.
No, get to donate at least $20 in Streamlabs, not super chat.
$20. You're saying $20?
And you can mute me.
Okay, fair enough. Just for the record, Tavishka, if you donate even $1, I'll give it a shot. But
I'll block Paul. I'll make sure he's not allowed to come in ever again.
James Payne, if you were seeding the tourney, what are the top 4 seeds? Oh, I have to bring up the whole thing again now. Oh, that's a hard question to ask. I'd have to really do some research on them before I give it. So off the top of my head, the top 4 seeds.
What do you mean?
You know what a seed is?
No.
A seed is like an attorney usually have like the number 1 seeds versus the number, like there's 36, you rank them number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1 will face like the top ranked seed will face like the lowest ranked seed. That's usually how it works in tournament style. So basically, you want to know who your top 4 players. If you got to see the top 4 players in the tournament, who would they be? I think you got to go with again without knowing it, Merle or Roka got to be up there considering they will be in a championship match.
Yeah. Ethan.
Ethan, if Ethan is in it, he'd be in there as well.
If he's in there, I think he'll be one of the top ones.
But also, Bibbs and
who was there.
Bibbs, I think Bibbs would be closer than Oyama to me, but I think that Bibbs and Oyama would be other ones as well, yes. And then maybe Barbarian has made his way up there, but not quite yet. So I guess that would be it. It would be Dan. It all depends on the outcome of the tournament. Why are you putting my ass up on screen again?
Hello, baby. Hello, bummy. I'm going to grab this ass.
Nice. All right.
High quality.
Maybe I like grabbing ass. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. It's just one of those moods. I apologize, though.
Lucas, I'm sorry she wants to grab my ass, but I mean, we'll have to keep your hand. You gotta keep this when you go to the live events. Just watch out, okay?
Yeah.
We'll do our best to keep you two apart for safety.
Keep me apart. Okay, for safety reasons.
I mean, those are claw hands, so I mean, like,
All right.
really up here.
John Listrina hashtag.
That's my favorite Queen
Why
song.
is Killer Queen the best Queen song? That's your favorite Queen song too. That's
my favorite Queen song too.
It's one of Kim's favorites as well. It's one of my favorites. Not my absolute favorite, but the reason why is because of Brian May's guitar. Because he makes us sing. His notes, it's amazing solo. That's why. But also because Freddie's an amazing writer, so that's why.
Oh, his voice. There's been, I mean, vocally, I don't. As far as I know, there's like ridiculous conversations such as like best voice of all time in music history kind of thing. And I feel like that's obviously incredibly subjective. Like, how do you judge that? You know, things like that, obviously so crazy difficult. But at the same time, who's someone that I automatically think of when that conversation arises? Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, number one on most people. A lot of people's list will have him at least in the top 5, if not number 1. He's definitely my favorite of all time, obviously. So he's a legend. He's a true legend. I miss him so much because he is amazing. He had the whole, he could write, he could sing, he could perform. I mean, he made Live Aid into like he made a 75,000 person stadium feel like a small sweaty club. Like he was that like in control of the whole thing.
So wonderful.
Love it.
My favorite song by Queen is probably Bicycle Race.
It's a fun one. It's a fun one.
Love it. It's just so, it's fun. He's
because,
hey, you know, it's like, it's John, it's Wayne. It's so fun.
Because of my fandom of Queen, it's so hard for me to pick a favorite. It kind of like rotates. I could give you like 3 or 4 like that are also somewhere in there. So White Queen from the album Queen 2, Under Pressure, and It's Late are probably the ones I go to the most just for now. Oh, and Show Must Go On. Because it's just the emotional one.
Oh, no.
So powerful. So powerful. All right. Wiley Henry with the super chat. What wheel slice would you dominate for me classics?
Really?
Wow, that's awesome. Not many people can.
If you're that cool, that's fantastic.
Kelsey?
On any given day, I'd say either DCEU or MCU. I'm a little rustier lately on DCEU because I've mostly just been watching Birds of Prey on repeat for like 5 months. But I'd say probably one. I'd probably say DCEU. Okay. I've been doing really good with playing along with IG lately with that. So and getting angry at people not knowing the answers. So.
Rom-coms, costume dramas.
There you go.
Another one would be young adult adaptations.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
a good one.
I'd probably be on that.
Yeah, I would. If I were to use one, yeah, there's young adult adaptations is probably the most recent that I'm like most people usually don't know.
Right.
Just because of the age. For me, it just hit me at the perfect time considering my age. So.
If I had to pick one, well, it'd be Star Wars for sure. I definitely love the Star Wars. Exactly. But I also do like Middle Earth category as well. I'm good at, and Harry Potter I'd probably be pretty good at as well.
Harry Potter is deceivingly difficult. Like
what? Let me interject before you go on. I will interject and say Harry Potter, except for the Fantastic Beasts movies. But go ahead.
That's where I have problems too, because I've seen those once and no desire to go back.
I guess I had the hottest take. I really enjoyed Crimes of Grindelwald. I did. I really liked Grindelwald's character. Well, I didn't like him obviously, but at the same time, that and the evolution of Queenie's character, I actually really liked the direction it went into. But that's like a whole thing. And everyone has hot takes, but yeah. Harry Potter, when it comes to the Wizarding World, I like growing up reading the books and everything. I always like, watching the movies. I'm like, I feel very confident going into, but there's so much stuff you have to know. It's just like a Middle Earth, it's just like, there's so many small things, the languages, the people, the characters, the itty bitty, what numbers, it's crazy. What was the number of, the vaults that Harry went to get all of his money from his parents? I mean, like,
yeah, it does get that hard. So, real quick, we do have a stream live from Tavishka Productions. Thank you, Tavishka Productions. Digging a lot of the C2A content, maybe more so because I can watch and not worry about losing 4 hours of work thanks to SEN and Outlaw in the mornings. What do you think it will take for the Quirky Mercs to move up to 3rd? It's going to take the two tourneys. I think Bibiani and Brendan Meyer could.
I feel a lot lies on their shoulders.
If they do what they're supposed to do, then that they will definitely be rising high up in the ranks. If you could have Bib, depending on the seedings, you could have a Bibbs versus Meyer finale, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I could definitely see Shazam making it to the finale at some point as well. And not only that, but our boy in the chat, Tim Franco, he is a dark horse that nobody knows as much about as him. I think he could definitely throw himself in the mix as well. And if Tim's on a team, which he won't commit to that obviously yet, that he's another person that team wise could be great as well. So
I agree.
I do think that, like I mentioned, I do feel like personally, I think they have the most well-rounded singles group out of all the factions. I know that's a hot take, but that's just me personally. But also, considering Shazam where they are, hypothetically, they're like a shoe-in for the teams turn. Obviously, not only the teams tournament, but they would be in. They would have like a number one contender shot right away.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. But also, I can't really sleep on any of the competitors between Perry, Tim. I mean, I know you're in the chat. Between Perry, Tim, and who knows, Real Rejects.
Yeah, that's very true.
Honestly, I feel like the potential in the singles and teams tournament is really fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised if they really shot up really fast.
Okay. Tim, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen Schmoedown wheel? My question back to you, is it an African wheel or is it a North European wheel? Do you guys understand that too?
I feel like this is a reference to Monty Python again.
It is Monty Python and the Grail.
The reason I know that is because you guys do that to me, and I'm like, I have no idea.
Wait, is this from a Holy Grail?
Yeah, it's a swallow. It's an unladen swallow. That's the question. Is it an African or European swallow? I don't know.
Blue, wait, no, red.
Exactly. Brian Nussbaum, who is your pick for manager of the year so far? That is a great question. Let's see. Looking into it, if I had to go through it, Winston is a definite dark horse as far as things go. If I had to pick one, though, how can you go against Gucci right now?
Gucci!
He's winning. He's winning. He's number one in the standings.
And my close second choice, who I think could possibly have it, but I just Gucci,
not only
man.
is he winning, but he also picked Barbarian fifth, and he's another one. It's like we had the top four people, and then you throw in there Barbarian, and he gets Sabrina Ramirez, possibly another potential thing. Demilana's done really well. The only Finstock Exchange that's kind of faltered at all has been Emily Jacobson, and she's been fine too. So I don't know how you could argue against anybody else, against them either.
I do think personally for me, like I judge managers, obviously, like I mentioned, not only like faction points and all that good stuff, but like I said earlier, by how much individuals have grown. Like Riley, I'm kind of curious about what his stance is going into this. He obviously had that win against Janine, awesome, but he's also been very vocal about how he's in it, but he's not going for the belts this year as he has in the past. He's not like a crazy aggressive at like the way like Roca and Bateman and everything are, which makes sense. But Gucci, one of the things that would make him definitely a shoe-in is because I don't think that we should rate him not only based on his faction, just because if we're going to talk about that, because he had the best faction picks that came in later in the draft. Craig, between Craig, Sabrina, and Demolanta. Sabrina, we don't know yet, obviously. Who knows? She could be amazing. I can't wait to see her, debut. But if all three of them do really fantastic, holy shit, I can't. That's fantastic, and not to mention, I really want all of them to do well. And Demolanta, he's spectacular. However, I do think Swag had a bigger hill to climb going into this one. Not only just because he had more rookies on his team compared to Gucci, but also more competitors improved versus Gucci. So that's why. That's what I mean. Like, we had a rookie win a Star Wars tournament. And not only that, with Lon and Oyama. Sure. Oh, you can not Oyama is like real hit and miss right now, obviously. But also Vaughn has been spectacular.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I love Vaughn. So good. And we're gonna see. So I do think he had the bigger hill to climb though, with no one with belts and no one of like hugely established careers on his league.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right. What else we got here? That's a good point, Buck. Hoping they use Twitch going forward as a minor league. I do think that'd be kind of cool to have like
awesome.
almost an official Schmoedown minor league. You get the rookies we don't get to see, maybe a rookie tournament or something like that. Like we get to see more potential. Of course, it's more questions for PJ and his team, but I'll have to see. Predictions for champs at the end of the season for all four divisions. Oh. All right, I'll do it. I think Bateman's going to get it back.
I think Bateman's going back too.
Get it back. I do think that. I think for teams, I don't know yet. I almost want to give Bateman two. I want to give Who's the Boss on their level because they were doing so well before. If they can pick it back up, but I think Paul and Tom could say something about that if they can get going. And after their loss, exactly. I would want to see them exactly. I do. I think they could get going by the end of the year, depending on the tournament. Over the Pride, yeah. The Pride is good. Pride is good. I feel like
they're 2-0 right now versus all the time. They're
absolutely. I want to see them.
Their pick over the other one.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying throwing them out there. A couple of them that I would think. I think that Paul and Tom have a great chance of rebounding now that they kind of had their. I think getting their loss out of the way actually will help them. Like kind of like they don't have to worry about because they were like it's kind of like that Robert Parker you were saying earlier. They were so hyped at the beginning of the year, like Paul and Tom. Getting their loss out of the way now, they kind of like can go, okay, we had our loss. Let's see what we can do now moving forward. So I have big hopes for them coming back. Mm-hmm. I still think Smets when it keeps the IG by the end of the year at this point. And I'm going to say Damon has a Star Wars belt still by the end of the year.
All right. I agree. I think Bateman will get the belt back. I have faith that's going to happen. I think Ace is going to get the Star Wars belt. I think he's going to be able to pull it off. I do think Smets will still have the IG belt. And for teams, I have to go with some classic teams. Either Corruption or Shazam. I just feel like they could do it. So absolutely. I'm gonna go with Corruption just because.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Upset City. What do you got over there?
I'm making notes real quick.
Yeah, most of the show has not been PG, Weston. That's true. Or you kind of go for our PG ratings.
We're super fucking PG.
If we can reach R, then we've accomplished something because we're usually beyond that.
Okay. Coming in with some upsets here.
Okay.
I think Ben has it as singles. Alex at Star Wars. I would love to see Shazam or the Den take it.
Okay. The Pride.
Pride, and the Den in general take it. Just because I've heard Rachel talk about her study schedule between how she strategizes with Ben, and I'm just like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's intense. How they actively communicate. I don't know. I don't think Kevin's obviously not going to get this. I don't think he's going to get distracted and everything. But at the same time, he's going to have a baby before the end of the year.
It's true. He's
going to have a lot going on. And so hypothetically, I wouldn't be surprised if Chandra takes it.
Ooh. Wow. Kevin, I love you.
I'm not saying he's not going to be hyper focused and he's not going to, get distracted or anything. Because obviously you're about to have a baby. I don't want to say helping your partner through her pregnancy is a distraction. That's priorities, So I do want to clarify. It's just, I like I said, I love me an upset. I do, but I love Kevin. Kevin and I are like buds. So
as someone who's had 2 babies and stuff, you watch a lot of movies while you're up in the night with them. So if anything,
True.
I watched more movies
true.
in those 2 years of them being infants each than I did it any other time.
True.
That could make him even more efficient as a competitor. So who knows? Yeah.
All right. And I got some Queen talking here again. Don't Stop Me Now. Also a great song. Yes, Brian does make it sing in every song. That's true. And Sam Franco also that because of Shaun of the Dead. I get that. Bohemian Rhapsody. That's another good one, of course. Saint Stanley. There you go. Bicycle Race is underrated. Alex, that's for you.
I love Bicycle Race. It's just such a fun song.
Yeah. Fat Bottom Girls is her fun one. That's true. Radio Gaga or Lady Gaga. That's true. The Highlander songs. Wow. Okay. And Matthew, how dare you, sir? How dare you? Led Zeppelin is not way better than Queen. Queen can play some Zeppelin stuff, but they also did a lot more than Zeppelin stuff. Also, they had many more genres that they could play than Led Zeppelin ever could. And I like Led Zeppelin. I like Led Zeppelin a lot. But
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a music person, but I recognize the flaws in that statement. So just saying. I do want to address something real quickly, NC7. I do want to specify Smets obviously is hyper focused. Obviously, I think he's gonna knock it out of the park. I think he's amazing and everything. I also have talked to Chandra as well. Chandra is in a very similar situation. He is also incredibly hyper focused, and I wouldn't be surprised if Smets continues to have the belt walking away. But like I mentioned, these are just like a general predictions. Who knows? Also, none of us could be right.
No, that's true. Very true. What? I don't know that. Thank you. I had to play that at that point. Ben Rainer, physical or digital wheel? I'm someone who doesn't care about the digital wheel. Like I know the new digital wheel has been kind of fine for me.
This digital wheel, I don't mind. One that technically helped Ben in Houston. I like, but also I hate because it's I don't like that digital wheel. That digital wheel sucks. This one seems to be fine so far.
I don't like digital wheels. I think they're useful. Totally considering the circumstances, they're totally fine. It's just that, there's been a handful of matches where I'm like, it just lands in the middle. Statistically, it shouldn't do this as much as it does, but it lands right on the line. And also I really love on a physical wheel, you get like the pictures with all the slices and stuff. So it's just visually more appealing. So I do miss that physical wheel.
Okay, I get that.
Miss the BDSM wheel.
Prince of the Universe, that a good song. A great song, Princess of the Universe. And I just want to say this, yes, Timothy, you know what? Because of the strong statement of Matthew, that's why I strongly went against Led Zeppelin, only because of the kind of reactionary. I love Zeppelin. Zeppelin does have their own brand, and they did stick to it. I just think that Queen had better. You could do more with a Queen album than you could do with the Led Zeppelin album. That's what I loved about them. And yeah, so I love Led Zeppelin. Don't get me wrong, but. Yeah, but Roger's a better singer, so I love Roger's backing vocals. That helps me a lot. Anything else? Plus, Roger Taylor's a great solo career, too, as well. I'm starting to bring this off into Call to Queen. I'm sorry, but...
On our new show that we're premiering next week, Call to Queen,
there you go.
PLD will be going over every single note of every single Queen song in detail, analyzing.
You know what? You joke about that. That's actually something I'm considering for PLD Products, doing a show on Queen. So going song by song. So we'll have to see. But that's and let me see. We had any Streamlabs? I kind of forgot to check the Streamlabs recently. Anything else on the Streamlabs? But I'd love to have that talk with you, Tavishka, sometime. I'd love to talk to you more about Queen and Zeppelin and all that. So I love 70s rock and everything else. So there we go. He's a drummer, so not. Yeah. I'll talk to you about Roger's drumming. There's some questions I have for you about that. But anything else? Nothing else there in the Streamlabs. Anything else in here? I think we're good. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Dean has one question there. We're thinking about putting fan league matches on Twitch to help them get more exposure.
I don't think fan leagues have a place on any official Schmoedown stuff for various reasons. But a Schmoedown run minor league would be a different thing, and I think that'd be a smart idea.
That is exactly what I would say too. I think that you can't have a fan league, but you can have an official minor league system that's kind of overseeing. Because first of all, Christian wouldn't just put. If Christian's going to have it on the Schmoedown Twitch, it's definitely going to be something he has a hand in. So it's got to be an official minor league system. If they were to develop that, then I'm all for that. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, I guys agree. It's also a great way to get potential talent. We were talking about how we would love to have rookie matches and stuff all the time, so I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, the point of the fan leagues is that it's run by fans. All the questions are are written by fans. It's hyper specific, so they would have to change a lot about the fan leagues. Like the thing is, in fan leagues, you can go into there's a lot of different rules. For example, you can go into, let's say you give a strength for see, I got you, Chandru. Yeah, there you go, Chandru. I got you.
Good luck, Chandru. Good luck. All the best of luck to you. But I will say I do think that Smash is going to have your number. But prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, man. Prove me wrong.
We love to be proven wrong. It's the best.
And I also alternatively like to be proven right, So, yeah.
That's a shot.
But like you mentioned when it comes to the fan leagues, they're hyper specific on categories. Like, for example, I had a competitor that had my competitor during a match went up against someone whose strengths included detective noir movies from the 30s. That was their strength that they put on the wheel.
Weird.
And or you can be like, oh, you can go a hyper specific, or you can say like Scorsese movies from the 80s.
Right.
Because they're hyper specific, or you can say exclusively the Fast and Furious franchise. So it's very hyper specific and very similar to how IG is, where they're much more finite. So I don't feel like a lot of those rules that are currently used, that a lot of fan leaguers love about being in the fan leagues, is that's how being efficient to be efficiently be able to study. But there's a lot of rules regarding the third rounds and things like that. And each league is very, very different from the other. So, there's a lot. But I would love to see another fan league match. I mean, like, can I just get in as a fan league manager, with the unofficial Schmoedown minor league fan league manager, please? That'd be dope. That'd be awesome.
All right, Kels, I think that is it.
All right. I think that is all we have for you this week on Call to Action Live. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. Always look forward to this every week. And yeah, it's been an awesome show. Upset City, where can people find you?
You can find me hosting Schmoebeats every single Wednesday at 9:30 Central. This Wednesday, we're going to be having a Star Wars tournament-themed Schmoebate with this fella, cool guy, not so cool guy right here. So that's going to be a fun time. Cool guy / not so cool guy, just depending on the day of the week, the time of day.
I just got that great ass.
And just going to keep going. That's next to my little list right there. Like, look at this. Like, this is my fantasy league draft, guys. Like, I color coordinated between the different drafts. It's like a thing. I think it's serious. Fan league, it's like a thing. It's a problem. It's a problem. Anyway, okay, but yeah, you can do it on Schmoebeats. I also co-host a show called Cinema Bias every single Tuesday with Drew. It's really fun. Just search her, and we kind of really chat about movies that one of us has seen and the other one hasn't, and we really swatch weeks. This Tuesday, we're going to be talking about Dr. No. Drew has never seen a Schmoedown. Sorry, I will, Tim, I will. But Drew has never seen any James Bond movie, so we're going to be diving into that one, so it's going to be a real fun time.
Very cool.
All right, PLD, where can people find you?
You can find me on Chill to Action tomorrow here on the Call to Action podcast. You can also find me on the Action Industries Patreon. I'll run that at patreon.com/Team Action. You can also find me on the Action Industries YouTube channel. I do a show called Class Action every week. I just did a show with Kelsey as a special guest. We put Chris Nolan up against Denis Villeneuve. This week's show is actually going to be a live show on Sunday night at, I believe it's going to be 9 p.m. Pacific. Jarvie and myself will be welcoming on Ben Bateman, and we're going to be counting down the top 5 Tony Scott movies that we like. And then finally, beyond that, I do PLD projects. I'm starting to build it up. I will hopefully have the Harris stunts ready soon, where I will go through every Ed Harris movie and make you love him like I do, or I will die trying. And then, of course, maybe the Queen thing eventually. I could get talking to doing a Queen show as well. But that's it. And at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter. There you go.
All right, perfect. And you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. I also run the Call to Action podcast Instagram, so you can interact with me there. TeePublic, we've got merch. please go check it out. You can get cool masks and things. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, you can find me here every week on Call to Action Live. I love hanging out with you guys every week and always look forward to it. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next time.
Salute.
Au revoir. Et puis les